And ahoy, my friends, it is your friend, streamer, occasional lover, Sabaton Liam at you once again with some more D&D Thursday. How are we going, my friends? We have Papa Agron in the chat, Charlie Sees All, and All About Nerd. Ahoy, my friends. I hope you're going good. And All About Nerd, have a good sleep. Thank you very much for the love and support. Anyway, I hope you have a great night. Now let us jump into the chat with where we have Papa Agron, Angus, Dan the goddamn Bard Cooper, Marlo, and a lovely DM. Ahoy, my friendos!
Hello, welcome, stream.
And
Welcome back.
How do you do, streamerinos?
Okay, for the benefit of M1, what happened in last session is after defeating some stone giants and cleansing a wilderness temple of the undead, the party arrived in the city of Yata to claim much awaited axe. They
Payment up
discovered
front.
Payment up front.
Payment
Payment
up
up
front.
front.
They discovered that the axe had since fallen into the hands of Yata, the thieves guild that Vector and Kitty were once attached to.
Hi, Mom.
And we
Hi,
met
Mom.
Vector's adoptive mother, Scimitar Sally, who provided the party with the axe in return for solving the mystery of the disappearing nobles.
And told us
After
Vector got dropped on the head as a child.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. After infiltrating a casino riverboat and trailing a suspicious woman, the party discovered that an aboleth in the sewers, presumably working for a mysterious kraken, had been behind the abductions, and after killing it, they proved the innocence of the hands of Yata, earning Nargle's axe.
Yay!
And
But
Cooper,
let
you
me
were not...
just say, that thing hit like a fucking dump truck.
It sure
really
did.
I'm really glad it just went after you guys for the most part.
Two of you are still infected, so...
Oh yeah,
And
that's
Cooper-
right.
And Cooper was not present for this adventure because shortly after arriving in Yata, you received an urgent summons to attend a meeting of the Bard's College of Words to exchange bardic lore, and you
Words.
couldn't turn it down.
I believe
You've now returned to the party.
I believe in most bardic knowledge, or in at least the words of the bardic, a bardic communion is more so known as the circle jerk. You're
No,
welcome.
I was about to say,
And-
wouldn't the anthem be Weird Al's Dare to Be Stupid?
Probably.
Work the shaft!
So here we are. After emerging from the sewers, Angus said a small prayer as he laid Lady Alicia to rest in the river, and then you travelled back to the old Cutlass Inn, where you
Sorry,
enjoyed a.
just dump a body in the
rather-
river and that's it.
Oh, it's not like you had it. Not like you had time to do a proper service. Middle of.
Before we did that, did we like keep her necklace or whatever?
You've still got her
Yeah,
necklace.
still got a necklace.
That's
I believe
proof.
Kitty's
That's
still
proof
holding
she's
it.
gone.
You retired to the old Cutlass Inn to rest up. Nargle and Milo, you had a relatively restless night due to the touch of the aboleth. You kept awakening at random hours in the morning, your skin
Elvis!
searing in pain, and having to reach for a bucket on the bedside table to douse yourself to temporarily relieve the pain. Both of you awaken with 2d6 of damage, please.
2d6 damage. Ugh.
2d6 damage,
Off to a
please.
good start.
So was that
Oh,
basically a long
Jesus
rest?
Christ, that's
So
12.
that we're fully healed
Oh,
It
and
was
now we
a-
take
Yes.
damage?
Yes, you had your long rest, you're fully healed, and now you take your 2d6 points of damage.
Yeah. Hey, whack.
Okay.
1 minus 12.
2d6.
What a way to start the stream.
As you said.
2 and so 6 damage.
Gory. That's a hell of a way to die.
Gory,
I'm gonna guess
gory.
though that does not mean that I'm attuned to my ring because I didn't actually spend it attuning.
Oh, you
Yep.
are attuned to your ring, you
You
got
had a
all the
long
benefits
rest.
of the long rest.
Oh,
You
awesome.
just had a restless long rest where you kept
Okay.
waking up and having to douse water on yourself.
Cool.
So here you are, awakening just after the crack of dawn in your rather sparsely furnished inn room. Bed sheets amass on the floor as you've shaken them off in the night. Skin beginning to glow a sickly white color with odd slimy growths beginning to pop out of your arm.
So, guys, how did you sleep?
Oh, that's good. Yeah, you need booze.
I'm
Me a priest.
Holy smokes, you need booze.
And I suppose it's even worse because I'm pretty much spewing up acid.
Yes.
Yeah,
And-
Because of the touch of the aboleth.
And also you notice, you feel a sting on your arm, and then you look and you see Cujo gleefully licking one
Oh,
of the...
god damn it!
What
Damn,
will be
Cujo!
So, what will be your first order today? You have to report back to Scimitar Sally to tell her the good news. You might want to pay a visit to Baron and
Oh,
or to Baron Rupiol and get your reward. And you might want
Go to a temple. I dare say I
Okay.
want to go to a temple first.
Yeah, I vote
the
temple.
temple first, then debriefs.
That is a good idea.
Prioritize this shit.
Let's find out which temples are here in Yata. Think Angus, would you please make a navigation roll?
Fair enough.
Wouldn't it be better for Vector because he's grown up here?
Yeah, well, Vector will probably.
Vector,
I
okay.
doubt he spent a lot of time in temples, though, is the thing.
That is true.
You don't know me. You don't know what I've done.
Yeah, how often have you stolen from the temple coffers?
Don't
I mean,
worry
you're
about
right.
that.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
So there are two temples here in Yata. There is a temple to Walkeen, the goddess of trade and merchants, and there is a temple to Timora, the goddess of luck and trickery.
Oh, not that bitch again.
Oh no.
Right.
I would
Dandy.
vote for trade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goddess of trade.
Black people always want something for helping.
Yep,
Cheap pricks.
very well. So you could rely on Vector, but he hasn't been in a lot of temples, so you have to fumble your way through the city streets, look at the signs, and occasionally stop for directions. And you find yourself at the Temple of Joaquin, a large square obsidian stone building with a sign depicting a picture of a merchant's scales. Enter inside and you see a couple of worshippers deep in prayer. At the head of the congregation, speaking over an altar, is presumably the priest, clad in the vibrant purple gold-trimmed robes of this faith. Notice as you enter, and immediately he holds out his hand, bidding you to take a seat and wait for him.
No rush. I was gonna say, yeah, take your time. Oh.
You wedge yourselves into a pew, Nargle and Milo splash some water over their skin, and you wait for his sermon. Takes 10 minutes. He's still talking.
Meanwhile,
Splash
there's a nice
some
little
water
hole in
over
the
it.
floor.
Yes, splash some more water over your skin. 20 minutes. He's still talking. You
Oh,
splash
good.
some more water
my
over your
God.
skin.
I'd like to point out if this was a modern sermon, we'd be done by now.
Yes. Half an hour, and he's still not done, and your
Oh
buckets
my
of water
God.
are empty.
Oh my.
Would you like to interrupt him?
Yes.
Can I
Oh, no,
pull out
just
my
vomit
coin
acid
purse
on
and
the-
just shake it?
Just vomit
Yes.
acid on the floor. You want to get his attention? That'll work.
Excuse me, priest.
I'm
believe you
Milo, you pull out your coin purse and shake it. Then the both of you take 1d6 damage.
Oh,
Damn.
Oh, this is gonna be
We
very.
don't need to get into combat today.
yeah, I'm already down to 54 HP.
I'm down to 34.
No,
The jingle of the coin purse, followed quickly by a pained wince, makes the priest finally look up. He examines the pews, and then his eyes rest upon you, noticing your blotchy, slimy skin and the acidic hole that's being burnt into the floorboards at Nargle's feet. His eyes go wide, and he says, I walk in. I'm sorry, parishioners, but it appears someone of great need has come into our midst.
The grapes of. The grapes of. The grapes of.
Parishioners silently get up, nod their heads to the priest, and make their way out of the temple. He beckons for you to approach him at the altar.
Oh no, I'm so sorry to interrupt your sermon.
He looks you up and down and he says, well, Joaquin will forgive me. After all, you appear to be in quite the predicament right now, and Joaquin will always forgive her followers at discretion when there's a chance for profit.
Okay, lovely, great. Can we please go into the healing before you get another hole in your floor?
Says, right, and would you know the nature of the affliction?
Touch of
Yeah.
the aboleth.
Transgenderitis.
Please don't.
God damn it.
Touch of the aboleth. M1, not transgenderitis. And don't offend anyone in the chat, please. They might
Yeah.
be
Yeah. Just don't.
Touchy issue.
the priest looks you up and down and he says, a rare affliction, but a inconvenient one to say the least. Yes, I can attend to that, and the standard price is 450 gold each.
450 gold. Yeah, just shock and disbelief, and yeah, another puddle comes spewing out.
This is where Dan Cooper might want to hackle a little bit.
Wait, I'm there in the room.
Yeah.
You're with them. You're watching the priest. He's trying to fleece your friends for 900 gold while their skin is literally melting away.
Well, the deep move would be just to watch and laugh, wouldn't it? But
Yep.
we're friends, so
I'm gonna
yeah,
persuade him
sure,
down.
I'll do a persuasion check to try and out bullshit him.
Go ahead and do one.
Okay.
It says, oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
Oh, that's good. Yep. So you don't even have to change your cloak to match his. You just come forward and you describe how you are very honorable adventurers who are working to save the Sword Coast from its giant plight, and how your friends have just solved the mystery of the disappeared nobles, and perhaps they would be due some reward. Priest looks at you and he nods and he says, aye. Well spoken. Well, as long as some profit is still to be made, I'll gladly fix you up for 300 each.
Still the 900 he was wanting?
Alright, can I do a little intimidation check while kind of like throwing up at his feet?
Go ahead, do an intimidation check.
Gonna be good.
No, that was crap. What is it again?
Did you roll with advantage because of the dread helm?
Oh yeah, fuck it.
Yes, the dread helm.
This is why we check.
Wolf. That is 6, 24, I think.
That'll
Either
do
way,
it.
it's over 20.
You step forward about to say something. You spit a large pustule of acid onto the altar, burning away some of the cloth. Priest looks down at the scorch mark and he says, okay, look, on second thought, 100 each, but no lower, or Joaquin would have my head.
What was
There's
that?
barely any profit to be made.
What was that? 200.
200 each.
It's the best
Yeah.
deal. Yeah,
I'm
I'm
gonna
okay.
persuade him down a little bit.
Under half.
Katie wants to do another persuade.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, if you don't heal them, they're just gonna stay here and keep putting holes in the
Yeah, there's gonna be
Um,
no church left thanks to me.
Kitty, you can do a persuade at disadvantage, or perhaps you can use charm person on him if you want.
Oh, you can.
Probably you're not.
Maybe
You're
just
not
remind him who
likely,
you work for.
yeah, you're not likely to be back in this church.
Alright. I'll do
So
that.
he's a priest, so he'd probably have higher wisdom, wouldn't he?
Yes.
As I say, maybe just remind him who you work for.
Well,
if
that
that gets
too.
him moving.
Yes. Okay. Kitty, do a persuade check with disadvantage, please.
Which one do I do?
The lowest.
Okay. So 8 plus 7.
8 plus. No, that's still
15.
good. Still good. Yeah, 15.
You inform him that you work for the Hand of Yata. He grabs the hem of his robe and gulps, and he says, I get it. You're trying to fleece me for all I've got. But your organization does result in a good uptick of trade in this town. So, very well. I will do the service for 100 gold each if you can promise me that Scimitar Sally will put the rest on her tab.
Oi, oi,
Mm.
oi.
Oh.
Priest.
Would I just lie
You know-
and say okay?
He says, very well. Tell her I expect to hear from her
We will
about...
promise that we will
Wait,
tell her
wait.
of this deal, whether she honors it or not.
You
Sarah, it is-
intimidated him.
Well, again.
Yeah, be like,
He sh-
no!
He shrugs and he says, well, if she continues to receive my church's blessing, then I'll hear from her about it by the end of the day. Very well. 200 gold, please. He puts out his hand expectantly.
I hand over the 100 without question and quickly.
Nargle, you hand over 100.
Yes, as well with just burning,
You
burning more
hand-
holes.
You hand over 100 while burning another hole in his altar. He winces, and then he closes his eyes, holds out his hands, and recites an incantation as quickly as humanly possible, almost as if he's eager to get you out of his church.
Almost.
What's
as
left of it?
if.
And then,
Deal from the church.
sure, go ahead, do a sleight of hand check. He's busy healing him. Yeah. I'll get to you in a moment. He recites the incantation as quickly as possible, but when he's about halfway done, he hears Dan fumble a glass vial and drop it on the floor. He turns around and looks
With him.
sternly at Dan Cooper, and he opens his hand and flings a plume of light at you. It hits you and deals 2d6 damage.
Okay, you know what? I take back everything I was thinking about this priest. That'll work.
7 points of damage. That works. He then turns back to the two who are
just fling
afflicted.
spicy water on.
Yeah, well, this isn't that kind of church.
Oh.
He just chucked a bug zapper at him, essentially.
Kane's a neutral god, so doesn't really make holy water. But
Ah, okay.
he closes his eyes once again, and even faster this time, recites an incantation. There is a surge of light that goes through your bodies. Then suddenly your skin is back to normal, and you no longer feel the burning of the Aboleth's acid.
Alright, does being healed at a church count as healing HP or just healing the affliction?
Just heals the affliction.
Okay.
Yeah.
You'll have
Right,
to attend to your wounds some other way, unless you'd like to purchase a heal from him.
Thank you.
No, God, no.
Yeah, no.
I was gonna say, hopefully we're not gonna be in combat today. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Oh God, that's not
He-
fun.
Dan Cooper, you have cure wounds if you'd like to cast it on yourself.
For the sake of just burning my own hands, I'll probably just save it in the meantime.
I'll use my potion of yes, Grail, I'll use my potion of greater healing.
Sure, you're probably not going to get into combat today. You'll probably have
Oh,
a
okay.
chance to long rest.
No.
Yep.
Screw it, alright
Most of
then.
the day is just talking with people.
Okay.
Until we leave the town anyway.
Yep.
The priest nods and he says, I do bid you a good day. Try not to touch anything else unpleasant. As you leave the...
Totally.
As we're leaving, I run up to him and give him another 50 gold and say, I'm sorry for the trouble we have caused.
This is to fix the
takes-
holes in the floors.
Yeah.
He takes
No, for
it
the
and
altar.
he takes it and he says, well, this will cover the vial that your bard friend broke at the very least. Thank you. Then leave, and as you open the doors to the temple, you find a familiar face waiting for you outside. It is Bartleby, who's been mysteriously absent during last time's adventure. It is because Bartleby, upon arriving in Yata and buying Angus his promised round of drinks, your class ring began to glow, indicating an urgent magical summons to the university, possibly for an examination. And education being more important than your adventuring career, time triggering the ring's teleportation function and spent your absence conducting your exam. You have now returned from the college and have been told that your compatriots are headed off to the Temple of Joaquin to attend to a rather nasty affliction that Nargle and Milo had contracted during last night's adventure. So welcome back, Bartleby.
His microphone's muted.
Good talk.
Good talk,
Good talk.
Bartleby.
Always good seeing the norm.
Yes.
Yes. I think he's coming a bit short with us.
Yes. He has returned and he looks at your wounds and he's seen some pretty bad things in the university, so he just shrugs and wonders what you've been up to. What is your next order of business?
Can we go to the market? Can we go to the
Sally.
market? Can we please go to the market?
I was gonna say debrief first, then we'll go shopping.
Right, debrief
Something,
is.
picking something up, but okay.
I know what you want. You want
I
to go
know,
get
I know.
stuff, but
Where
go
first?
visit Mom.
Scimitar Sally's hideout or Water Baron's palace?
Mum. We're gonna go Mum.
Right, we'll go pay Vector's mum a visit.
Okay,
While you're talking, I'll be right back.
Kitty, I would like you to do an investigation check, please.
15.
15, that's enough. You spend a couple of minutes asking around and trying to find out where Scimitar Sally's hideout is for today. And you are directed to an abandoned house on the edge of the market district.
Investigation is a dex mod, isn't it?
You knock
Oh,
on the
intelligence.
door of the abandoned house.
Yep.
And you hear a gruff woman's voice say, "Who is it?"
It's me.
"Ah, the prodigal son." The door opens and one of the older crones of the guild ushers you quickly inside. She checks to make sure the coast is clear and then pulls the door shut behind her. You see Scimitar Sally seated on a moth-bitten couch, old coffee table where she's currently counting several stacks of coins. She looks
Hi,
up
Mom.
at you. Looks up at you and she says, "Ah, Vector, darling, you've returned, and so have your friends. So tell me, how was last night's hunt?"
Is this part where we show her the amulet that
Amulet and the aboleth head that Milo
Yeah.
Yeah, you
took
said
and
the amulet. Kidding.
yep,
Yeah,
time for show and tell.
Fox's amulet.
Yeah.
Good old fashioned show and tell.
take out
old-fashioned
I
show
brought
and
a
tell.
horsey. Nay.
you take out the amulet while Milo takes out the aboleth head, and you just place them on the edge of the table. She looks at them and she shrugs and she says, "So it's a big bloody eel's head in a necklace. Tell me what this has got to do with the disappearing noble."
Well, that was the show portion. Now for the tell.
You see, as it was, Mom, this eel thing was actually smart. And you see, Mom, he would go and get all the nobles in and send them off elsewhere. But we found out where they were going. There, and then they were gone.
The Kraken.
This Kraken.
She says, "The Kraken, you say? She says, "I've heard whispers of this so-called Kraken Society. Rumors here and there, but never anything too concrete. Well, I must say this was obviously proof that they are indeed real and have some stake here in Yata. She frowns.
And Mom, you know how the young lord was getting sick with the heat and stuff?
She nods.
This eel thing is the one that did it.
She says, "Ah, wonderful.
Also, don't put the necklace.
And that's
be all I
Demisha's
need."
necklace.
It made a
She
late
says,
medics
"Right,
know
well,
you.
says I will examine both of these, have them looked at by some professionals. This will be more than enough to prove that guild is innocent of any wrongdoing. In fact," she looks over her shoulder and snaps her fingers. A new recruit of the guild, a young, naive-looking girl, no older than 18, appears and says, "Yes, ma'am." Matar Sally says, "Go to the Water Baron's palace and inform Water Baron Nestra that the true culprit has been found, and take this necklace with you." She tosses the necklace. The woman salutes and leaves.
Don't put on the necklace.
Matar Sully shouts after her, "Don't put it on!" Then turns back to you and she says, "Well,
And tell the lady I
done."
want payment.
Up front.
Up
Do
front.
we still need to go to the water baron and give her a document?
Yeah, do we
She
still...
says the water baron will receive you, and well, I believe she will not hold back on payment. So you'd best visit her then. Chop chop. She claps her
Chop, chop.
fingers. She then reaches for a pile of the
Fucking
gold
chop, chop.
coins, dumps them into a bag, and slides it over the table towards you. She says, "A token of my good faith."
Oh.
There is in the bag 100 gold pieces. Not much,
Thanks,
but
Mom.
says, looks at Vector and she says, "Don't waste it on candy, please."
7. So
Oh, I
that
like
was
this one.
100 by 7. That's 14 gold each.
Not much, but it's a small token.
I like
Then-
this.
You then leave. As you're about to leave, she calls out and she says, "Ah, Reva, by the way." She says, "You seem to be taking a liking to these adventurers, and so if you would like to continue journeying with them, perhaps keep an eye on my wayward son here. I won't object to it."
Alright.
It's okay. There'll be peace when you are done.
Yes! Sorry.
Take care, my son.
Well played, sir.
Thank you.
She then, as you open the door and begin to leave, she then shouts out, "And behave yourself, Vector! Remember, don't lick the yellow snow!"
Wait, what?
Payment up front.
Oh, we need to talk again sometime.
Oh, Cujo!
Wait, what?
So don't lick the yellow snow.
Now
Oh.
off to the Water Baron's palace.
You're giving me like permission to act like a retard, just so you
Oh
know.
god, no!
I've seen far worse.
You go to the Water Baron's palace. You nod at the guards, and you're quickly let through. To your surprise, you don't have to wait long in the lobby. A guard immediately appears and says, "Lady Nestra would see you immediately, if you please." And he begins to lead you to the Water Baron's office. Enter the Water Baron's office, and you see Lady Nestra Ruthiol once again, the same middle-aged, stern-faced, silver-haired woman with narrow, scheming eyes. In front of the desk is the young woman from the Hand of Yata. Nestra is examining the text. She looks at it, apparently satisfied, and nods. She hands it to the young girl and she says, "Very well. Return this to your boss, and my apologies for suspecting you. I'll make it up to you sometime." The girl pockets the necklace and leaves, winking at you as she passes.
Oh my.
crosses her arms together and she says, "Right, and here are the adventurers who are responsible for ending the threat."
My necklace.
Yes, getting the necklace. She says, "Right, well, it's a shame you couldn't recover the missing nobles, and there's no evidence to suggest that Lord Dryland or his gambling riverboat are to blame here. So we'll have to deal with that some other time.
To the document.
But as I'm busy, it will have to wait. I do, in the meantime, honor my promises, and I have something here for you as a reward." He reaches under her desk and pulls out a rather large lance covered in runic
Oh
carvings.
no.
Oh.
She says,
Oh.
I had this taken out of the armory. One of the guards reported that one of your number favors pole arms, and I figured that this would be appropriate payment. Places it on the desk in front of her.
All we hear from Vector is,
I didn't realize dwarves could make that higher pitch.
Oh. Mine.
Says, of course, you'll need someone to identify it. It's sat in the armory for so long that no one's quite sure what it's capable of.
Right here.
Alright, Kitty.
Black cast.
Kitty's.
No, I don't want to leave.
He can do an Arcana check, or Bartleby can do an Arcana check, or Angus can cast Identify.
Take a pick, people.
Don't care. Mine.
Oh my god, I'm so glad this gift exists.
It's called the lands. Hello.
Kitty, do an Arcana check, please.
Hmm.
5.
5. Yeah, you've never seen this before. Dan Cooper, do an Arcana check, please.
Alright.
That's
Change the
behind.
D20.
Bartleby can do it.
I was gonna say, where is
Change the
Bartleby hiding?
D20. It's not giving me much luck.
Bartleby's gonna check.
Yep,
Wow,
Dan
damn.
Cooper. Dan
Not
Cooper
bad
just
dice.
knows he would like to steal it, but can't actually identify it.
Dan steals it. He'll
Bartleby
probably end up
says-
wearing it.
Bartleby says, give it here, and you pass it up to Nargle's shoulder.
Stop it, you're gonna waste
And
it.
Bartleby
there we go.
identifies it. He takes a brief look and he says, well, this happened to be on the exam yesterday, so I know exactly what it is.
What a convenience.
And it is a vicious lance +1.
Oh.
I will
Vicious
bring it up in the chat so everyone can see what it does. This is a +1 weapon, and when you roll a 20 on your attack roll with this magic weapon, your critical hit deals an extra 2d6 damage of the weapon's life.
Jesus.
Oh, that's like Steve's
The
old
vicious-
rapier.
Yeah, it's like Steve's old rapier,
So
which I
all
think
vicious
M1
weapons
has now.
do that.
All vicious weapons do that.
Okay.
I think M1's got a rapier like it.
So that's technically not a magic weapon, though, is it?
It is. It's a magic weapon.
A vicious whippy.
This is a vicious lance +1, not merely a vicious lance.
Ah.
She then buries herself in paperwork and says, "Now, I've got work to attend to. At some point in the future, do come back and perhaps we will tackle this problem with Lord Dryland. Now, be off with you." She ushers you rudely, in your opinion, out of her office.
Hey.
I
Your
paid no
bits-
attention to it. I have a news
Yeah,
point.
Just
He's just busy
gazing
smoking
at your
his goddamn
pointy
lance.
stick.
Just stroking
And-
plants.
I believe now Milo wants to head to the marketplace.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, please.
You head to the marketplace. Today is an off day for the market, so most of the vendors are packing up. However, Halfling Caravan is still there. And as you approach, the Halfling Gypsy woman looks up at you and waves, and she says, we was waiting for you to come back. Says,
Here I am.
He reaches into her pocket and pulls out 2 rings and proffers them to you.
Oh,
Says,
yeah, I forgot
"Here,
about that.
here's your bloody rings. Says this one will shoot lightning, and this one will summon a giant ram's head. Don't do it in proximity of caravan hands. They won't appreciate the rude interruption.
Thank you, my lady.
She
Have
nods.
a lovely day.
She nods and says, "Hopefully, we'll see you in the Shires one day." And then she turns and continues to direct her caravan hands to pack up the rest of her stuff.
Safe trip to
Okay.
you.
And
Now
I think
have a
you're
ring of ram.
and a ring of lightning
Yeah,
strike.
Sweet Jesus.
My steak is better than bacon.
My stick is better than bacon.
Now your
Does Ring of
business.
Lightning
Yep.
Strike need a tuning?
Yes, it does. You have to attune to that.
So am
And
I
so-
attuned to the Ring of Ram or not? 'Cause I thought I already had it because I
Yes,
bought
you,
it.
oh yes, sorry, yes. She was just pointing it out. Yeah, you're attuned to the
Okay,
ring
yeah.
of ram. You're not attuned to the ring of lightning bolt yet.
Okay, cool.
Good time.
I believe that your business in Yata is done, which means there's a couple things on the agenda here. Oh, it's a custom magic item that I made up.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Does is once per long rest, you can use it to trigger. You can use it to send lightning out in a 30-foot radius in an area of your choice, and anything caught in that radius will take 4d6 lightning damage or 2d6 if they pass a dexterity check.
Can be used to attack a 30-foot radius.
4d6/2d6 lightning damage.
Sorry, you cut out there.
A 4d6/2d6 lightning damage,
So you can get attuned.
and the save DC is 15.
Save is 15. So, can be used to attack a 30-foot radius, 4d6/2d6.
15
Save
DC.
is 15 DC.
It's gonna be useful.
Thank you.
Hey. You have a couple of you leave the city of Yata and you flash your
Yeah.
newly obtained false
Hold Kitty head.
Why are we leaving?
Oh, because we're all done.
Are we?
Yeah.
gonna go to a new town now. We'll be back in this one in the future, don't worry.
Hold on, I think Kitty's checking something.
Yep.
I've got this venom gland
Ah, yes.
and a.
You do have a venom gland. Unfortunately, the market is not operating today,
I've got
but
my short sword +2.
you got your short sword +2.
Can I do anything with that?
The markets are closed.
No.
You can
at the
temporarily
moment.
poison it. You can temporarily poison it, or in the next downtime, you can imbue the sword with a permanent poison effect.
Okay.
Did we end up finding that bitch who killed her brother?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She apparently
This-
is getting controlled by the Kraken. We found that out after we removed the necklace from
Yep.
her, and her brain exploded.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
All
yeah,
in a
so
day's
she,
work.
She
It
was
is-
being controlled, but she also didn't die well, so it kind of balances itself out.
The
Alright.
party
Yeah.
describes as you
Great
walk
detail.
through the as you walk through the city gates, flashing your newly acquired fake residency passes, and begin to walk to the Bartleby Express, the party explains to you in vivid detail how they infiltrated the Grand Dame casino boat, discovered Lady Alicia working as a attendant there, how Milo bested her in a down-to-the-wire game of dice, and how they trailed her through the nighttime streets of Yata, only to notice a pretty necklace around her neck, and upon Reva attempting to steal it, caused her to violently and abruptly
guys
suffer
told
a,
me to steal it.
psionic blast that caused her
You know
to
what would
die
happen?
from a brain hemorrhage.
That's the
probably a
nice way of
go.
putting it.
Yeah. C'est la vie.
I vote we because we have a very, very, very sneaky. I was about to say Ralph, sneaky.
Tiefling?
Yeah,
Rogue.
Tiefling. Yeah, rogue here. We should steal those magic items.
Magic
So you
heist. Magic heist.
You've got two things on the agenda. The first would be to head to the city of Silvery Moon, where Othavir, the trinkets vendor, informed you of his distant kin, the Margaster family, and their cache of magic items. Or you may travel to the city of Everlund, where Darathra, the Lord Protector of Tribor, promised you that the Harper leader, the wizard Drelev, would bestow a boon.
What was that? Sorry, you broke up.
The Harper wizard lady is going to give us a boon.
Yes, if you go to Everlund. But I think everyone wants to go to Silvery Moon for the magic item heist.
Did you
Wait,
mention the
let's
other
heal
day
and
that
stuff
we get
now?
a mine payment?
Yes, a mine payment, yes. And as you're about to open the door to the Bartleby Express, a bird flies out from the hills and deposits a package with the Wave Echo Mine logo on it at your feet. One of you roll a d20, please.
18.
18.
Damn.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That will be. That will let me see. That. Hang on, I have to do it in general chat. I forgot. That will be 260 gold for each of you.
Oh, we take that.
Yep.
7 is 37
Well,
gold
then
each.
260 each.
Oh, 260 each.
260 each,
Oh,
yes.
each, that's right.
Then you enter the Bartleby Express. As Bartleby put a 3rd level spell slot in it last time, the engine is still charged. Bartleby, you see this and you feel a wave of relief wash over you. The engine is still ready to go at a moment's notice.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Reach down and just check that your chastity belt is...
We'll never step back.
Rip
Right.
off the chastity belt and just, yeah, rip it off and end up tearing everything else off.
All right, are we... So
I
we're
have
going
ways
to...
of preventing that, I would remind you.
Do we take a long rest in the tank?
Oh yeah, no, we got like how many of a days to.
Well,
So
I
you're
suppose
heading
me
to
and Marlo,
this-
me and Marlo would need, Marlo needs a long rest and I need a rest.
Again,
Yes.
it's gonna be at least a couple of days to get to where we're
You're
going.
heading to the city of Silvery Moon, which overland will take 4 days and below ground will take 2 days. However, it's on the other side of the Evermore Swamp, and last time you attempted to travel underground there, you bogged the tank.
Yeah, I'm all for just going above on this one.
Yeah, above
Yep.
ground.
Very well.
It's down below.
Very
It'll
well.
work out in the end,
Angus,
isn't
Angus, do your navigation check with disadvantage. The DC is 12.
Like disadvantage.
Still a swamp. Swamp is a swamp.
Swamp.
Twamp.
Ooh, that's a 5.
Oh god
Alright.
damn it, it's bogged again.
So you travel 1 day without issue. You have a long rest. Kitty cooks a nice meal in the confines of the tank.
And now I'm attuned to both rings, sorry.
And now you're attuned to both rings.
Ah.
Then,
does it-
on
does-
the second day, you miscalculate your direction and find yourself piloting the tank right into a wayward mudslide. Nargle, do a strength piloting check, please.
Just normal.
Just normal, please.
Point out
Oh,
You didn't.
I did.
You didn't.
I did.
You didn't.
I did.
Did what?
That's a 1.
1.
Oh.
Okay, Nargle, you grab the steering wheel to pull out of the way, but plunk! The steering wheel detaches from
Ah!
This isn't meant to happen.
and you all spend about 30 seconds panicking, deciding what to
Pass
do.
the steering wheel around to everyone. Fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it.
I would like to take the
I
steering
attempt
wheel,
to
put
fix
it back
it.
in place, and cast Mending as a cantrip.
Right?
Makes sense.
And you cast Mending. The steering wheel fixes back to the control panel. Nargle, make another check at disadvantage.
Oh God.
That's okay, M1. Looks like the party broke the tank while you broke that.
I fixed it again.
Hey, I fixed it last time. I helped fix
Oh, you know,
it
you
last
fixed it
time.
last time.
I
remember.
cleaned it last time.
You did.
That's 10.
That's
Oh,
10.
fuck.
Okay, you grab the steering wheel and you fling it to one side, but it's not quickly enough to veer out of the mudslide. Hold on, guys, you're about to take a tumble. Or grab something close to you as the tank is flipped in the mudslide and carried down a hill into a bog in the middle of the swamp. Each of you...
Can I cast Flight on myself to just basically stay midair all on during this? Just
Go
basically
ahead.
floating in the middle of the
Zero
tank.
gravity.
Yeah, fuck you, gravity.
Go ahead.
You're my
You
boss.
I'm
cast-
just working on Iron Dwarf. I stay low to ground. Low center of gravity. Just hold on to something and just kind
You're
of.
a natural gyroscope.
Bartleby
Yeah.
quickly waves his hands in a fit of panic and begins to float, while the rest of you tumble around as the tank rolls and rolls and rolls down into the depths of the bog. Take-
Hey, I would like
All
to
of
think
you-
that I'm like leaping off walls because I'm so acrobatic.
Alright, you can do an acrobatics check, please.
Just imagine my guys just either just staying really fixed in one place or just bouncing around making loud clanking noises every time he hits something. Just bang, oh, bang, ah,
Oh, quit it.
fuck,
Alright,
that, damn.
Oh, damn. That's a
That's
crit.
That's a 20
Okay, so
plus 7.
when the tank reaches the end of its wild ride at the bottom of the hill, everyone except Bartleby and Kitty takes 10 points of damage.
Jesus Christ.
And Kitty takes 5. Still got a little bit knocked around, but jumping around helped
Help.
you avoid the worst of the damage.
All right, are we all good?
You
Roll call,
look
who's not dead?
around.
The floating
and-
mini.
Hey, Angus, do you want to kiss my lucky egg?
That's Bartleby right there.
Do you
I would like to
exit-
remind you we're in a confined space and I have access to fireballs.
Do you exit the Bartleby Express?
Might as well do damage control.
Yep. I pop the lid.
Okay.
and see what
Damn
the is.
You pop open the door and immediately you know something is off because the door is level to the ground, which usually is not the case. You step out and you notice that the wheels on the door side of the tank are missing and are scattered at various intervals
no.
across the hill above. In addition, the tip of the drill has apparently snapped right off.
Oh no.
Oh
This
my
is fine.
god!
This is fine. Are there any corpses around us?
Do a perception check or do an investigation check, please, Bartleby.
Spot hidden check.
Drop my baby.
That would be 23.
23. There are no corpses around you, but as you examine underneath the vehicle and the vicinity, something catches your attention.
The wicked
In the
witch.
in the distance, not too far away, it's within earshot after all, you hear two noises. The clash of metal upon metal, and someone shouting in giantish, "Ah! I won't let you destroy the small folk!"
Eh?
Interesting.
Onwards!
Seems to be a friendly giant ahead. I give him a rough translation, and then I zoom up into the sky and just start flying towards the source of the noise.
You fly towards the source of the noise, and on the other side of a nearby hill, you see a lake in the middle of the wetlands, a dock/marina type building on its edge. It's half way through the process of being demolished board by a pair of stone giants. A third stone giant lies dead on the floor, half sunk into the bog. And engaged in combat with them is a lone frost giant.
Oh, this would be that one we got told about.
I'm going to cast Silent Image to basically create a big arrow in the sky to alert my party members in the direction to go. And then I'm going to zip around the battlefield, firebolting the stone giants while I'm in midair. And I'm also going to cast Mage Armor as well.
Right. So you get off a mage armor, and you may do one firebolt. Roll your roll, please. And
Can I use my pet owl to give myself assistance?
Yes, you can.
Cool. Well, that's good. So that is 18 to hit.
18 to hit. Yep, that's a hit. Roll for damage.
6 points of damage.
You then, as the rest of the party members arrive on the battlefield, swoop down out of the sky and perch yourself smugly on your normal spot in...
no, I'm actually going to stay midair, thank you.
Right, well, I will,
About 80... Actually, wait a second. Just give me 1 second, I'll tell you what my precise position will be. It will be 120 feet directly above one of the giants.
That sounds like a good fireball distance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's firebolt distance, yes. It's also, if they try and throw rocks at me, gravity may fuck them over.
Okay. Everyone roll for initiative, please.
Oh, God damn it, that's a 6 for me.
6.
That will be a 12 for me.
7. 7 for Angus.
Okay.
18 over here.
That's 11 for me.
Vector. All right.
The spare of my tank
13.
being damaged just made me sad. And I'll let you.
Oh.
Ooh.
Right.
Okay.
That's a 2 for Dan Cooper,
Oh,
unfortunately.
why is it a Discord video? Okay, give me a sec.
Yeah, I'm
so-
not
I
live.
thought it was coming up, and then you changed it.
No, that was Discord text. Yeah. Whoop.
For Bartleby, it was 12, I believe.
I had got a 13.
Yep, I'm good.
Oh, the initiative
13
bot turned off.
rocks.
It's part 12. It's Milo 6. What did you get, Angus?
7.
7. Let's see.
Mhm.
What did you get, Kitty?
13.
See you in a few minutes.
What did you get, Narkle?
11.
What did you get, Vector?
18.
Looks like Victor will be going first, unless... And Cooper, what did you get on your initiative?
I
think
believe
you
Cooper got 2.
2. Yes, he's going last. Fortunately. We will now roll for the enemies. And it's gonna be... 14.
Damn it.
Vector, you're up first. Here is the map.
Sensitive boy.
Alrighty.
Get this over with so we can fix the damn tank. Priorities.
I know
Nearest-
this is meta, but is this the only fight that we're going to do until the next rest?
Yes.
Are we near? Like, am I near enough
Yeah, it's not
to?
like we can really do anything once we finish this because our tank is.
You're gonna have to fix it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Vector's gonna...
I was just making sure.
And there are also 4 small earth elementals on the field.
Oh.
Oh no!
Hey,
Would you like-
Milo, about time to bust out that ring of yours.
Where would Vector like to
I
go?
would if people keep the right people free. 'Cause I don't
Am
wanna
I
get
near enough to be able to attack some of the big guys?
Yeah, you could run up to one.
Alright, I want to go up, run up to the meanest looking one.
You run up to the nearest, meanest looking stone giant, the one who's locked in combat with the frost giant.
Prison
Hey, roll
rules.
to hit
Grab the
him.
biggest bitch in the yard.
By the way, raging.
Okay,
We're
so
putting
you
this
only-
new spear into justice. It's a lance, thank y'all.
Hey, the nearest.
Is it called a lance?
Hello.
Alrighty.
Good movie. I love that movie.
He's good.
And 24 to hit.
24 to hit, and that is a hit.
18 points of damage.
Yeah, good hit. And I believe you get one more attack.
Raging, I get 2 more attacks.
More attacks. Roar. You did also move, though, remember.
So one more.
Just one more.
Thought moving is a free action. It's a movement action, not a attacking action.
That's in 3.5, though. In 5e, movement just takes up an action.
Oh, never mind then. Sorry.
You're in
I
the
get
wrong
confused
game,
sometimes.
Don't worry, I get them confused all the time as well.
It happens.
Let's see. 29 to hit.
Yep, that's gonna do it.
Jesus Christ.
All for damage.
Oh, y'all just wait till I can pick up if I pick up an achievement to where 19s count as crits.
Oh.
17 on the damage scale.
Good hit. Okay, Kitty, you're up.
I'll move in range of the closest elemental. Just
Alright.
just enough in range to use color spray.
She wants to paint some toenails.
And paint it.
Yep. You want to hit in case you move up here to the edge of this tree where you'll be able to hit the 2 elementals behind the building with your color spray.
Okie dokie.
Hey! Color spray.
Taste the rainbow.
Go ahead and roll your 6d10s.
Dirty
All I
sheet.
see is a rainbow of pain.
60. You wrote GD10.
Oh.
GD10.
You wrote D10.
Oh, god damn it.
No.
Roll
Roll
6
D10.
D10.
GP or your
32.
HP.
32.
32. Okay, the earth elemental nearest to you begins to covers his eyes with his rocky arm, unable to see through the spray of color. Okay, and now it is the enemy's turn. First up, the frost giant steps forward. He looks down at Vector and he says, "Thanks for the assist, little one."
Ah!
Common. And then he
Oh my god, it speaks our language!
raises
That's a
his
new one.
and he raises his great sword and swings at the stone giant.
Vector gleefully rolls.
And he nat 20s.
Oh,
Yeah!
damn.
Oh man.
I swear, if I don't get a test on my axe against one of these giants, I'm gonna be upset.
Deals 31 points of damage to the stone giant.
Oh.
And he says, "And let that be a lesson to not trifle the small folks."
Hey!
The stone giant looks around. He raises his club and takes a swing in a wide arc, striking at you and the frost giant. And the frost giant deftly leaps out of the way while Vector ducks as the big club sails over his head. Second stone giant looks up and sees Bartleby right above him. reaches for a chunk of debris and just hurls it straight upwards, rolling with disadvantage due to the trajectory.
Please fail and let it come back down.
What goes up must come down.
And he hits, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Bit too mustard in that.
That ain't good.
Bartleby, you take 32 points of damage as the rock flies straight up towards you and hits you
wait.
center mass.
Wait a second.
Yeah?
What did it roll to hit?
It rolled 28.
Yeah, no, I can't touch that.
It's like watching something like Dragon Ball Z, just sitting there watching the get closer and closer. It's like, no.
However, you do manage to remain in flight, and he possibly won't hit you next time. That was a very lucky advantage roll. Okay. The blinded Earth Elemental rushes towards Kitty. And he swings with disadvantage.
How does he know where I am?
He knows where he last saw you, and you deftly roll to the side as he lashes out blindly with his stony arm.
I laugh at him.
Another Earth Elemental buries itself into the ground.
Also, I'm pretty sure Earth Elementals don't worry, like they've got tremor sense, I'm pretty sure, so they can just tell where you are.
Well, yeah, they do, but
yeah,
they do, but it's gonna, they're still gonna get, they know where she is, they're just
they get disadvantage. I'm just saying that's how they probably knew where she was.
Oh my gosh, this is Tremors all over again.
No.
Meanwhile, another Earth Elemental also buries itself into the ground. It's the last remaining Earth Elemental who is on his feet, stomps over the swamp, stands in front of Nargle, and lashes out with his rocky arm. It's getting an attack of opportunity from Kitty as he goes past.
There we go. Hooray.
And an attack of opportunity from Milo's whip as well.
Oh, neat.
Whip it good.
Indiana Jones, that shit.
What's your...
That's an 11.
11, that unfortunately won't hit.
So you think, it's all +7, so that's 5 plus 7. No, 15
12.
plus 7.
12.
22.
12.
22.
Yep. That's gonna hit. Roll for damage, Kitty.
Yeah.
I guess I'm using the bow.
You can use your sword as he runs past and just slash at him.
What's the damage
already
from
hit.
my short sword?
Your short sword plus 2.
Right.
1d8 plus 2. It's your dex modifier.
Good old finesse weapons.
Oh,
10.
nice. And plus your dex modifier.
Plus my dex modifier. So that's 4.
14.
So 14.
Good hit. You lash out with your short sword as the elemental stomps past, chipping off a small portion of his body. He swings at Nargle with both arms. And he hits the first time, but not the second time.
You motherfucker.
Nargle, you take 6 points of bludgeoning damage.
Oh no.
Okay. Bartleby, you're up.
Alrighty. I am going to cast
Gee, what?
major.
I was like, what?
Seven
That
spells
broke
for
my
the
heart
time.
crying.
I'm actually going to cast Magic Missile at 6th level.
Oh.
Right at the giant directly below you.
Yes.
Go ahead, roll your dice.
Shift. That would be 22 points of damage.
Yeah, 22 points of damage. Now, you remember when you were taking your examination yesterday, one of the hypothetical situations was you were floating above a stone giant. And
Man, this is one helpful exam.
Yeah, it's just,
Who
you know,
goes to
it's
school with
what you get
real
from
life?
majoring and adventuring.
Yes. What is the best course of action? And you remember you picked C, fire 6-level magic missiles. You stood by that answer yesterday, and you stand by it today. So you raise your staff and you fire off the missiles.
It could be worse. You could have been that one student that just answered fireball thing.
All of them collide, all of them smashing into the giant's bare chest. He roars in rage and begins beating his chest. Okay, next it is Nargle's turn.
No one move within range of me.
Well, I think we all know what I'm gonna do right now.
Rage, fucking rage!
Yes.
Weirdo.
Rage! Roar! Okay, you
Roid
get the two attacks
rage!
now.
And attack the one right in front of me. Thank you.
Right, go ahead,
Hi.
roll for damage.
Yeah. 21.
That's a good hit, and your axe shatters the earth elemental to bits.
Oh, I don't even have to roll damage.
Oh, wait, yes, sorry. Roll 21 roll for damage. Yeah.
Aw.
Damn, I shouldn't have said
Roll
anything.
Why? You fool!
Okay, 6, 8, 10, 12. That's 18.
Yep. Good hit. You shatter off a piece of his chest. Go in for your second attack.
Yeah. That is a 12. No, 13.
That's a hit. Roll for damage.
Oh, damn.
Get him!
Okay, come here, baby boy. Two, 12, 6, that's 18.
And as you swing down with your new axe, you crumble the earth elemental into a cloud of dust. That's your turn.
Wait, I've still got one more.
Oh, yes, you do, actually, but you're not in range of anything unless you want to throw your javelin.
That's what I'm going to do, throw my javelin.
The one that's fighting with Kitty, go ahead, roll to hit.
Oh, I want to
Javelin.
Javelin. That is a 5 + 9. 14.
That's a hit. Roll for damage.
1d6. 3, 4 + 6 + Yep. 12.
12. You reach for your javelin and you hurl it forward, striking the earth elemental's chest and creating a large crack. Now it is Angus's turn.
Quick question, is that javelin still in there?
No, it bounced off and fell onto
Dang,
the
I was
floor.
hoping it was still gonna be there. I was gonna try and railroad spike that thing.
Damn.
Damn. Well, either way, I see an earth elemental in front of me. I have a big hammer. We both know how this goes.
So you're going to rush up to him?
Yep.
Take it out for some crafting.
Okay. Ah! And as you rush towards the earth elemental, you trigger attacks of opportunity from the two underground earth elementals, which immediately...
Damn.
Both of them?
Yep, which immediately burst out of the earth, flanking you.
Oh, good! I'm gonna get stomped! Awesome! Good luck surviving without me.
Ah! And then both of them swing at you with their arms.
That's not an attack of opportunity, because burst out near me, yeah?
No, because
Okay.
they're not moving into your range, they're just coming out.
Is it too late to chuck on a Shield of Faith as a bonus action?
It's okay, only one of them managed to hit you.
Nice.
Oh wait, no, two managed to hit you.
Again, is it too late to chuck on a Shield of Faith as a...
You can do it as a reaction if you like.
That's fine. That buffed me up.
After the damage is dealt, so you won't get hit again.
Piss.
Alright, hold on one sec. Has anyone noticed that M1's gone?
Yeah, to go.
Yeah.
He's gone to J-Car to pick up electronics components.
Oh, okay.
So that he cannot finish. So that he cannot finish something.
Moving on.
Right. So that is 6d6. Angus, you take 15 points of damage.
Just fucking as bad as it could have been.
That is true.
Now, which earth elemental you're swinging at? One of the two that just hit you, or the one that Kitty's fighting with, which is nearly dead?
I'll aim for the nearly dead one first, just to be safe.
Right. Roll to hit.
All right.
Hey Dale, I have a quick question. What happened to the large boulder that was thrown directly up at me?
It hit you.
Hit you and then presumably fell back down to the ground.
Did it hit him?
It didn't hit him. The trajectory was slightly off. I did roll for it though. I did a Call of Cthulhu luck check to see if I hit.
Nice. All right. That's a 22 to hit.
Yeah, that'll definitely hit. Roll for damage.
All right. 2d8 plus 1. That's so nice to read. Ooh, that is 17 to hit. Yeah, so 17 damage.
You imagine the Earth Elemental's face as a giant rock of ore in the mines down at the Storm Horns, and then you laid loose with your hammer, shattering his head in one fell blow, killing him.
Nice.
No lump of Earth's gonna fucking stop me.
A lump of
Earth.
Earth.
Years. This is nothing new.
Milo, you're up.
Okie dokie now. My extra attack, does that have to be used as an attack? Or is it an extra turn?
No, your bonus attack is a bonus attack.
So it has to be an attack.
Yeah. However, your bonus action, which you use for your offhand weapon, that doesn't have to be an attack. You can use that to mount Rammstein if you want.
Hold on, what was that? Sorry.
You know how when you attack with your offhand weapon, that counts as a bonus action. You can use that bonus action for something else if you like. In this case, you can mount Rammstein with it because I think that's the only other bonus action you have.
Okay, so I wouldn't be able to use Hunter's Sense and then use my ring?
No, you wouldn't be
No?
able to,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Well,
You could use one or the other.
Yep. Shit. Shit. Okay, that changes everything. I use my Ring of the Ram. All 3 charges.
Yep. Whoa.
Let me get the chat up that I got it. I'll just get it there. Hold on.
Just bringing it up. Ring of the Ram has 3 charges, regains 1d3 extended charges daily. You can use an action to spend 1 to 3 of its charges to attack one creature you can see within 60 feet of you. It produces a spectral ram's head and makes its attack roll with a +7 bonus.
Yep.
Right. So which enemy would you like to use this on?
Is Can I ask how dead the giants are? Like,
One
are
of
they
them,
severely injured, or
one that threw a rocket Bartleby is slightly wounded, is still quite strong. The other one is maybe a third of his HP's gone.
okay? Is the one that's fighting the frost giant? In
He's the
range?
weaker one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's-
they're both in range.
Okay. Well, the one that's fighting Vector, I use 3 charges of my ring.
Right, go ahead, make your 3 attack rolls.
Roll.
Sorry.
3
People look at me.
20.
Oh, shut up.
And then I've got to add the +7 to each one.
You shut up.
Damn!
20. Oh, those. Do they
That's
get critical?
3. They don't get critical, unfortunately.
Damn, that would have been epic.
But 2 of them hit because they're 20s, and the other one... Oh wait, you get a +7 bonus, so they all hit. Okay, go
Come
ahead
on.
and...
Oh.
Go ahead and roll 6. Yeah, go ahead and roll 6d10.
I was gonna say, this guy's just seen this giant and's just gone completely bloodlust.
Roll 6d10.
Oh, 34 points of
That
damage.
poor giant's about to get a serious kneecapping.
Okay.
And does he get pushed 5 feet away?
He does, and I'll describe that in a sec. Okay. You press the ram's head on your ring in and point at the giant. Behind you, Rammstein goes, "Ah!" And a giant ram's head emerges seemingly from the air, zooms towards the giant, and bashes at the giant with its horns. The giant takes the hit, shrieks in pain, and then he falls 5 feet backwards, getting an attack of opportunity from both the frost giant and Vector.
Oh god.
Come on, Lady
Does
Luck.
it count as an attack? Already, sorry.
It's just an action.
Okay, so it's not an attack action, it's just an action.
No, it's an action.
Cool. So I don't get my extra turn this time. That's
You
okay.
get your extra attack, but you can only use your bow because you used up the action that could be used for attacking, moving, or anything to cast the. So now you just have your bonus. Now you just have your extra attack, which can only be used for an attack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can
well,
fire your bow with it.
Yeah, let them
get
do their turns first. and then
Vector
I'll-
do his attack of opportunity first.
Fuck him up.
And that is 21 to hit.
That's a good hit. Roll for damage.
God.
17 points of damage.
Oh, good hit. As he falls over backwards, you jab him right between the legs with your lance.
Ah,
Between the
big shot.
cheeks.
Frost Giant looks over at Milo and he shouts, "Good play, little one!" And then raises his sword and swings at the giant as it falls backwards, striking it and slashing a large bloody mark on its chest. Or
Keep your bloody opinions to yourself, large one.
14 points of damage. Okay, now you
Wow.
can make your bonus attack action with your bow if you like.
You know what's
Okay,
scary? That's the least amount of damage.
I target one of the earth elementals surrounding Angus.
Angus, go ahead.
That is 8 plus 7. 15.
15. Yep, that's a hit. Roll for damage.
Bow is 1d8. And do I add my dex modifier to this?
Yes, you do, because it's
Yep.
a hand weapon.
Oh, yep. Okay, so that what is my dex modifier? That's 8 damage.
8 damage, good hit. Arrow bounces off the earth elemental, but you notice a small chunk of rock going with it. It's Dan Cooper's turn. He holds out his hands and sends a lightning bolt towards the earth elementals.
Just the earth elementals?
Angus, Angus, you have to make a dex save.
I am going to murder him!
He's not here, but I'm gonna murder him.
That
So
wasn't
does
him either.
and so does Nargle, because he's doing a thunder wave. Sorry, not a
Oh,
Oh, even better.
fuck.
Great.
Does
Either
that mean
way,
I
that's
need
an
to as
11 for me. I'm
No,
going to kill him.
Milo's
Can I
just
help
out of
you?
range.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's
I rolled an 11, so I failed, and I'm going to murder him.
what modifier do I add?
Con
again?
save.
I
wait,
really
con?
don't want to say this, but
Con
it's
save.
15
Con-
feet
oh,
huge
con.
originating.
Oh, well, in
from
that case, that's
Yeah,
a
I
15
failed.
then. I thought
Yeah.
you had Dex. No, I got
it's
15 then.
Out
God,
from you.
look like
Each.
those
Oh,
stupid-
each. Hang on. Oh, yep. Okay. Sorry, Milo. You're also making the
I
save.
really didn't want to say that, but
Yeah.
seeing as you put that up. Con save, so that
Yeah, no, I rolled 15, so I passed, right?
I rolled 13. I
You
don't
just-
add my constitution to it. do I?
No.
So just 13.
Just failed. Right. Okay. Nargle and Milo, you take 10 points of damage. Angus, you take 5. And the Earth Elementals take 20. And the Earth Elemental that Milo fired an arrow at shudders from the electricity and goes down.
Oh my yes, if Pokemon were a lie.
Yes. Okay, Vector, your turn.
Haha. Time to go back to messing with that giant.
Ah.
On the giant is
Lance
not gonna-
I'm still in range, so I'm just going to attack.
Just go ahead, make your 3 attacks.
Fuck him up.
Alright, that is a... It's gonna be a hit, but 28 to hit.
Oh,
That's definitely a hit. Roll for
are you
damage.
sure? He could be wrong.
I think you need to double check those numbers.
I like recount.
Oh,
19 points of damage.
Ooh, 19. Good hit. Okay, 2 more attacks to go.
That one, I've nat 1.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
Shove the lance into
Yeah.
the ground.
All right, roll a D100, please.
Oh no, Duck!
Somehow pins me to the ground.
You watch, she'll stab the friggin' the other giant.
Oh no, that's gonna happen.
It flings up in the air and hits.
45.
Okay, you plunge with your lance and it flies out of your hand, embedding itself in a nearby tree. You are now unarmed.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's
Good Robin Hood.
How nearby is the tree?
It is the tree that is directly behind the stone giant.
Oh shit! So you can't get it without getting walloped by the giant. You know, it's weird seeing this
Nah,
happen.
if he fell back. Wait a second. Wait a second. If he fell backwards, does that make him prone?
Oh, he climbed. It doesn't fall prone. He just gets blasted backwards.
Oh, sorry. I was like, wait a
No,
second.
he's not
Never
prone.
mind. Oh shit.
This is weird
Punch
seeing
him
this
in the
happen.
leg.
to
He's
girls.
probably.
You still have your non-magical lance.
You're right.
What did
He's
that,
just looking at the other lance
when
going,
that
"You think this
use
affects
up his
me?"
last action equipping it?
Yes, he does use up 1 action equipping it, but he still gets off 1 attack with his normal lance.
Instead of using that 1 action to equip it, could I just like punch the shit out of him as
Yeah,
I
go
run
ahead.
to my lance?
I was gonna say, you
Alright,
think I'm powerless without
grab
my
it.
weapon? Who decided
Make-
that?
I'll make him do an attack of opportunity with disadvantage since you're punching.
Bitch!
Just going, "No!"
We're just watching in awe as this dude loses his lance, shrugs, and then just runs screaming with his fist up.
Alright, I'm gonna go like this.
And-
And if you get hit, it's your own fault.
He actually misses you. He
Convenient.
swings at you with his club, and you punch just the tip of his fingertip, and he goes, "Ooh!" And then you run under and pull your lance out. Make your final attack.
Dear God.
Alright. Let's fucking go.
Oh,
Nat
God, was
20.
that- oh my
Oh,
God.
fuck's sake.
Alright.
God damn,
Roll
he's back in
for
action.
damage.
Back in action.
I was gonna say, yeah, noticing that as he pulls the lance out, the tree just like splits in half from the force of landing in it.
The tree actually falls on the giant.
Oh, better yet, the tree comes out with the lance and just throws the whole fucking thing.
Alright, on the 2d6s, do I add that in after crit damage? Or, okay.
Yeah, you do the crit damage, then
Oh,
you...
This is gonna be disgusting.
I don't know if I want to hear this or not.
I do. I'm so glad that. Remember last episode? Remember last episode when he was briefly on the enemy's side? This is terrifying.
Oh god. I might need to give him my amulet.
Yeah, perhaps.
Oh my god.
38 points of damage.
Yep,
Oh,
that'll do it. You wrench your lance from the tree. The lance,
Jesus Christ.
the tree immediately shatters under the force of the blow,
52
and then you,
damage altogether.
and then you plunge the lance forwards into the giant's chest. You plunge it in deep, and when you pull it out, there is a large, still beating giant's heart on the end of it.
Dinner.
He falls
Wow.
over backwards into the swampy water with a loud splash.
I yell out, dinner!
My God.
Okay, Bartleby, you're up.
Yeah, top that.
Wait, no, Kitty, you're up.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, because I'm hurting a little bit, I'm going to cast some defensive magic. And I'm going to cast a mirror image on myself.
Very well, there are now,
Dakibushi no Jutsu.
now 3 Bartlebys.
And I will use my bonus action and my owl to give Vector assistance on his next attack.
Yay!
Oh, yeah, 'cause he needs more help to attack.
I do.
Very well. Okay. It's the enemy's turn.
Wait, it's,
The
What about
last
Kitty?
remaining.
I thought
Oh,
the
yeah,
enemy
Kitty's
are-
turn. Yeah, Kitty, you're up.
Okay. I will attack the elemental.
Yay, with your bow or your sword?
With my sword.
Who's your sword?
With my sword.
Use a sword.
You rush in, brandish your sword, and swing. Roll to hit.
That's what do I add for that?
Strength.
I think I add dex.
It's your sword.
Yeah,
It's...
you do. Yeah, dex. Yeah, but a short sword is a dex.
Oh,
weapon.
short sword, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, short sword can be strength or dex, whichever.
can
you
be
decide.
strength, but she's gonna want to use it as dex.
Yeah.
Even though
Yeah.
it's short sword,
So it's
that's
7?
+7. Yeah,
Okay.
that's a hit. It's over 20.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Roll for damage, please.
What am I rolling again? 1d8 plus 2. Where's the d8? Thank you.
8
8.
plus your
Plus
dex.
dex. 12.
What is it? What's your dex mod?
4. 8 plus
So,
4 is 12.
11?
Okay, yeah, 12.
11. You
just-
slash and you shatter off a chunk of its rock armor. Now it's the enemy's turn. The last remaining stone giant steps forward out from behind the ruins of the building. He then reaches for a large rock out of the swampy water and hurls it in the direction of Angus, Nargle, and Milo.
Go
Motherfucker.
19 AC for me.
We'll see. Nothing. We just have to see if he hits. It's just a normal attack roll for him. Okay, and the rock hits Nargle and Milo, but not Angus.
And that's bludgeoning damage.
And it's
Wait,
bludgeoning, so.
Wait, what did it roll? Because isn't Angus at 19 AC as well?
No, I used.
He's got
Shield of
he's
Faith
got
earlier.
he's got Shield of
So
Faith, so it
21.
just short low.
Okay,
It got low. Roll for 10. Okay. Alright. Milo, you take 29 points of damage.
I'm down.
And Nargle, you take 14 points of damage. Milo, make a death save, please.
Okay, how do I do this again? Sorry.
Just roll a d20, and if it's above 10, you pass, and if it's below, you fail.
God damn it, I got a 9.
That's a
Okay,
fail.
that's one failed death save.
Milo's down. Oh no, save him.
The earth elemental swings at Kitty.
Okay.
And it hits one time.
Does it though?
You take 11 points of damage. He smashes you with his rocky arm. And then the frost giant sees Milo go down, and he shouts, "No! Not the little man!" And he runs towards the stone giant.
He's gonna have to learn to be a little bit more descriptive when he says "little man," because that can apply to many
Yeah, that
people.
could apply to anyone.
Also, it's vaguely
what-
racist when referring to dwarves and gnomes.
Yes. Demolishing what remains of the small wooden house as he walks through it.
Oh,
And then-
good. That just makes easier access.
Yeah. And then he swings at the stone giant with his large sword. And he hits, dealing 12 points of damage.
Yay! So he posted.
Okay, now it is Angus's turn.
No.
Oh.
No, Nargle's
fine.
Nargle's turn. I know what Nargle's gonna want to do. He's gonna run towards that giant.
Yep.
Get him with the axe. Your time has come, my boy.
Rage within your rage. They took out Milo.
Ah!
Yes. Your time has come, my boy.
Yeah, he's a happy boy now.
Show no mercy.
14.
Unfortunately, that will not hit.
All right.
Next attack.
Try again.
Well, you
21.
I'll be right back, sorry.
That hits.
So 21.
That's a hit. Roll for damage.
Big time.
No whammy, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy.
2d8. Where's my d8s? 8 plus 2, 10.
They do extra damage because of the giant.
Oh,
It will, but we're doing the first damage first.
So normal damage, that's 18.
Yep, now 2d6 more damage.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. That's 24.
Ooh, 24, that's good. That's 40 damage altogether. Now he must pass a DC 15 strength check. He passes, unfortunately, stays on his feet, but you've got one more attack.
Once more.
Once more, we're feeling that is 27.
Oh,
To hit, roll
God.
your damage.
Rip and tear until it is done.
3 plus 2 plus 6. Okay, that's 20 normal damage. That's before adding the bonus
Yep.
damage.
20 normal damage plus 2d6.
23.
23 damage, and now he must pass his save. He doesn't. With a roar of pain, he falls backwards, prone, crushing the pier under his weight.
Get some!
He takes 1 point of damage from falling over, and that is Nargle's turn. Good turn. Now it's
Yes.
Angus's turn.
Okay, well, as much as I want to finish off this Earth Elemental, I feel like Milo's close to me, yeah? Where's he at?
He is. He's only 10 feet away.
Fantastic. Okay, how many people need healing that are within 30 feet of me?
Not me. I do need healing.
Nargle and Kitty both need healing, as far as I know.
Yep.
Okay, Buttleby, I'm guessing, is outside of range.
I'm very much outside of range.
Yeah, he's
Well,
very much outside of range. He's like 100 feet in the sky.
Okay, so Nargle does, Kitty does, Milo definitely does. And I do. So, alright, myself and everything, Kitty, Nargle, Milo, prepare for some prayers of healing. Always a good time. Okay, and ooh, damn, you guys are some lucky. I rolled 7 and an 8, so let's see, 7, 8, 15 plus 6 is 21.
Okay.
21 HP.
Back in the fight just in time.
Milo's back on his feet, Kitty's fully healed, and I believe Nargle's also nearly fully healed. Okay, Milo, you're up.
Oh,
What can
too
I
many
say
friends.
except
Too many
before
friends
then?
in the way. Yeah. I can't use my ring of fucking lightning.
Lightning bolt.
That
No,
really
you're.
won't retreat.
Yeah.
Everybody.
You can mount Ramstein and charge the giant though if you like.
You know what? Fuck it. Rammstein! Charge!
You climb onto Ramstein and you point at the giant and you shout, "Charge! Would you like to just this one time spend your extra attack to cast Hunter's Mark?"
Ooh.
Hunter's Scent or Slayer's Prey?
Hunter's Scent. Slayer's Prey.
Slayer's Prey, yeah, that's the one that does damage.
The thing's prone, so
Point-
you're basically just going right between the legs.
You
Stab him
mark
in the
the
dick.
prone. I'm only letting you do it because he's prone. You mark the prone giant as your prey, and then you use your bonus action to jump onto Rammstein, and you use your final action to charge. Okay, roll to hit, please.
Go for that Jeblites!
He's prone. You roll with advantage.
You roll with advantage.
Okay, that's okay. I'll get to roll that one again because that wasn't that one. 26.
Oh,
To hit, roll for damage.
What am I attacking with?
You're attacking with your short sword.
not the ram.
That sounded like such a stupid question.
So many options, though.
4 plus 1 plus 12 damage.
12, yep.
Oh, plus
plus
the 1d6, isn't it?
plus the 1d8 from the charge and the 1d6 from the Slayer's mark, from the Slayer's
D8
prey.
Charge. The charge was an 8.
Yep, so
Oh.
that's
And
8.
the d6 was
Yep.
a 2.
So you rush in, stride Rammstein, you mark the giant as your prey, and then you go, "Ah!" and you swing your sword right down between his prone legs, cutting off an appendage.
Are you,
Quickly-
Oh my.
Okay, maybe not
Quickly-
cutting off, maybe splitting in 2 or something, because I don't
Splitting
want to
it
have
in-
another debacle.
We're not
You
doing that again.
split it in two, and you hear him cough up a death throw as he quickly bleeds to death.
damn.
Killed that
Thank
thing
you
like
for
a
letting me
bloody
do that.
banana.
All right, Vector, you're up.
Just got
That's right,
the
it's
lovely
fucking Earth
lump of
Elemental.
earth left.
Still got
Am
one
I even
Earth
near
element.
anybody? Am I even near enough where I
we
can
haven't
attack
had
Yeah, Dan Cooper's
Yeah.
turn yet.
Oh.
Haven't had Dan Cooper's turn. Dan Cooper rushes forwards and stands directly in front of the Earth Elemental. Then he holds out his hand and unleashes some magic missiles.
Oh god, he can do that too now.
M1. When M1's in control, he probably can't. But when I'm in control, he can. It's on his
Yep.
character sheet.
Fair cop.
Magic missile. Okay. He's casting it at 3rd level, and so he's getting 3d4.
Oh no, they give me 5d4.
Sorry,
Yeah.
4d4. Oh yeah,
5D4.
5d4. Yes.
5d4. You get 3 to begin with and 1 at every.
12 plus 17. Bang, bang, bang! And when all 5 of the magic missiles cleared the way, the Earth Elemental is just a pile of dust, and that is the end of combat.
3D!
Yay!
I want to check the ruins of that house.
Right.
The ruins of that
Now
house.
that-
Yeah.
yes, what's left of that house,
Yes.
unfortunately.
House is gone.
Um,
He is gone. We kind of fucked things up here.
Survey the surrounding area. There are 3 dead stone giants and the remains of earth elementals. The frost giant looks at you and he puts his hand on his chest and he says, "Well fought, little ones."
I basically land gracefully, and then all my clones sort of merge into me. I'm like, "Battle be civilier at your service."
He holds out his hand at first and then realizes it's bigger than you and quickly retracts it and he says, "Arshnag, Force Grey at your service." Okay, at this point, Milo, you are from Waterdeep, so you will have heard of Force Grey. Force Grey is a rather infamously destructive but good-natured adventuring party. And yes, indeed, you do remember that there is supposedly a member of the adventuring party who is a giant. Look-
Sorry, the pup's just currently playing up. I heard that, but
Yeah.
I don't know how to reply. Sorry.
Puppies, yeah. he looks down at you, and he says, I would have handled them eventually, but I do appreciate the assistance.
Yeah, well, I don't usually help giants, but you seem to be doing the right thing this time.
Says, I can't abide these stone and fire giants laying waste to the small folk. And so, I'm setting it right in my own way.
I appreciate it.
Trashy room.
Weren't we supposed to like get with the frost giants about something, or there was the sky giants?
The
Frost giant.
You've made contact with the cloud giants. You're supposed to be meeting the storm giants, and the dragon Old Norbone told you that there is a frost giant who's sympathetic to your cause, which presumably is Arshnag here.
And we were supposed to like look for him.
And you found him.
Nice.
He sits down on the ground, takes a large backpack off, reaches into it, and uncorks the largest potion bottle you've ever seen, and he drinks from it. He then grabs out of his backpack what to him would be a thimble, but to you is like the size of a bucket, and pours some of the healing potion into it. And he pushes it across the ground, and he says, "Here, drink deep and heal your wounds."
Fair enough.
Take any damage from that round?
You probably
I don't
did.
think-
No. I think
Yeah,
this is
but
more for
everyone
Bartleby
else-
at this sense.
Yeah.
I'm like only 9 HP short of full, so I'm
Alright,
pretty
so,
good at the
'cause
moment.
it's a giant bucket of a health potion.
Health potion, yes.
So, what do we get back from that?
You will be fully healed.
Oh,
Oh, well, I might
Nice.
as well take a dip.
I'll drink it.
come, water's fine.
This giant.
Bartleby-
Okay, he's after the fire giants.
Bartleby basically jumps in and starts swimming in the potion. And
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Now I don't want any.
following
You
now
see, like,
soon.
little bubble.
Actually, wait, I don't give a shit. Again, I have Constitution for days and I'm a dwarf. I really don't care. Let's go.
You see little bubbles come out of the potion beside me?
He's gone under it. He's just.
No. As in, like,
Bartleby.
Yeah. Frost Giant reaches into his backpack and he pulls out a particularly large loaf of bread and he begins biting into it. He chews and he says, "So, what be your itinerary, fine adventurers?"
well, we need to repair our vehicle. We've got a.
God, I almost forgot. Turn and run back to the tank.
Pieces are here and there.
Just
And
a
there.
really, what seems quick for a dwarf, you just see me take off at a leisurely strolling run.
Yeah. The giant sort of leisurely follows behind you and he sees what remains of the tank and you hear him go. He rubs his beard and he says, "Oh, well, either that thing was made far out east or someone doesn't know how to pilot their vehicle." Bends over.
I can practically feel Liam rolling in anger from here.
He
Alright.
bends,
Yeah.
he bends down to examine the wreckage, and he says, "Well, I'm not much of a gearhead, but if it's speed you're looking for, I'd be happy to give y'all and your fine vehicle here a ride in me backpack."
Can I sit on your shoulder?
Looks at you and he says, "Would it be the first time?"
Hell yeah.
"Sure."
I was gonna say, get Liam to sit on his shoulder so it's like, reverse, like,
And then before you have a chance to do anything else with the wreckage, he grabs the entire tank, brushes the bits and pieces off the side of the hill with his other hand, and just places it like a broken toy in his backpack.
Neat.
And it says, he then sits down again, bites into his bread once more, and he says, "So, where are you folk headed anyway?"
I believe we're heading for Silver Moon before we came upon an unfortunate landslide.
Silvery Moon. He says, "Well, Happen to be heading that way myself. You see, beyond there, I plan to head north into the spine of the world, where lies the Temple of the All-Father, where giants can seek wisdom from the god of giant kind. I was, heading over there, hoping to petition the All-Father and gain some insight as to how I can end this unrest amongst the giant kind. He says this, it jogs your memory. Old Norbone, the ancient green dragon, told you about the existence of this temple, but was unsure of where exactly it was.
You mind if we go with you on that journey?
Says, well, of course. But if you want to stop in any cities along the way, well, you know, current circumstances withstanding,
Yeah.
I might just have to let you out a couple of miles away from the city gates and just wait for you to conduct your business. No offense.
Yeah. No, none taken.
None taken.
Says, well, in any case, it's good to have some allies. I tried to contact me old adventuring party, but they've set sail for the distant land of Chalta. They've decided to search down a legendary ruin called the Temple of Horrors, and I haven't heard back from them in quite some time.
I'm sure they're fine.
Sure, they'll be fine. I'm sure they'll be
Now-
fine before you know it.
Character knowledge, you know they probably died there.
Yeah, more than likely.
Yeah.
You giants are a healthy breed. I'm sure they'll fight if they can fight half as good as you.
Says, and so I'm glad to have you aboard. I don't know for sure, but I suspect that with the ordning broken and the Storm King missing, that perhaps our age-old enemies, dragons, have something to do with it.
Wait. Do we know about the Storm King? Was that in character or out of character knowledge?
That we know.
You know about him. In fact, last
no,
session...
the Kraken stuff.
Oh yeah, the Kraken stuff. You were told that you have a suspicion that the Kraken Society is somewhat linked to the disappearance of the Storm King.
I believe we would definitely be telling him that. So
Yeah, relay that message 100%.
Yeah, we definitely don't want him going after dragons at the moment.
His eyes go wide and he strokes his beard and he says, interesting. Well, that will be useful information. Perhaps something will come of it when we consult with the All-Father. Combine that with his divine wisdom and we may know exactly what to do. Then places his backpack on the ground and turns it down so the top of the opening of the backpack is facing you so you can walk in, and he says, well, hop aboard. He then holds out his hand and he says, and scraggly looking dwarf there and Mr. Dragonborn, feel free to ride up above if you'd like.
Yep, I climb in his hand.
Do you climb in his hand,
I
Nargle?
wasn't really paying attention.
Oh, you're getting a Bartleby experience. You're gonna ride on the shoulder.
Get on the shoulder.
The giant is offering to let you ride on his shoulder.
Noggle, do it.
Alright.
Noggle.
I'd take him up on the offer, but I'd like to at least try and start getting to work on fixing some of the stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, yes, that's true. Are there any sort of humanoid corpses around?
No, there are not, unfortunately.
Damn
Aside
it.
giant stone giants.
And
but-
before you ask, yes, I have a legitimate use for them.
You'll
I
find
wasn't going
some
to-
soon enough.
I wasn't going to ask, but I was curious.
When you enter the backpack, the giant closes it, and you can hear the sound of a large zipping it shut. Violently jiggled around as the giant places the backpack over his shoulder. Meanwhile, Nargle and Vector have climbed up onto the giant's shoulder and are sitting side by side. Bartleby, are you still on Nargle's shoulder at this point?
Actually, I'll just take the other shoulder of the giant.
I like the idea of having, it's a gnome on top of a dragonborn on top of a giant.
The
Like a
giant
gnome ducking.
giant looks at you. The giant looks at you and he says, make yourselves comfortable. Well, to
don't
Silvery
worry.
Moon we go.
I'm like, don't worry, I will. And I start, basically setting up camp on his shoulder, putting a bedroll out.
Yeah, you bring out your bedroll and pitch a tiny tent. And then And then with a shudder, he begins to walk across the swamp. Approximately 2 days later, Angus, please make a Smith's Tools check.
Do I add anything for that?
Just D20 and your proficiency.
Oh, D20. That'll be 17.
You've made some progress on repairing the Bartleby Express, but you've only managed to get one of the wheels back on, and the drills, you're going to need to forge an entirely new drill for it.
Oh. Hey, I'd like to think spending 2 days inside a giant's backpack, that's pretty good, solid work.
It is. You made a fair bit of progress. And while you were there, you started hammering some of the scrap metal. You started hammering some of the scrap metal into shape, preparing for the bar you're going to make at some point as well.
Oh yeah, FYI, for anyone who missed that memo, I'm planning on turning this...
Just preparing for a quick pee break.
Yep. Pee break.
Approximately 2 days later, you're on the outskirts of Silvery Moon. Nargle and Bartleby can see the city on the horizon from the giant's shoulder, as can Vector if he's awake and not throwing up from the jittery, nauseous ride.
Okay.
And
hold on. I'd just like to do something for shits and giggles.
Yep.
I'd like to wild shape into a small lizard and hop on Bartleby's shoulder.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that.
It's so cute.
Okay, you wild shape into a tiny lizard, like a little skink.
We're riding the giant shoulder.
You run up onto Bartleby's shoulder. So there is now a gnome on a giant's shoulder with a little skink on his shoulder that is a transformed dragonborn.
Make him a dragon. Fuck.
And
like
you.
a baby.
It's a known dagon. It's a known dagon.
Smaller than you.
Harshnag stops
I am
walking.
the tiniest dragon.
He leans over and holds out his hand so that the three of you riding his shoulder can vacate. Vector and Nargle walk down his arm onto the firm grounds below. Small skink Nargle still riding on Bartleby's shoulder. And then the rest of you inside the backpack, you feel a violent shuffle as the backpack is taken off Harshnag's shoulder and thrown down onto the ground.
Hey, watch that! Some of us are working here.
You take 3 points of bludgeoning damage.
Oh yeah,
And
just
then,
like a random piece of scrap that I was working on the bar just comes off and hits
I
me.
take 3 points?
Everyone who was in the pouch takes 3 points.
Everyone who was in the backpack takes 3 points. And then you hear Harshnag say, "Oops, sorry about that." And then he unzips. He unzips the backpack and turns it on its side to let you out. Points at the walled city. What appears to be a vast walled city made of beautiful white marble on the Silvery Moon River just up ahead. And he says, "Aye, it'll be Silvery Moon, the jewel of the Heartlands. I've been there many times and enjoyed many pleasantries there, but I think perhaps in these circumstances it might be good if I just wait here."
Fair enough.
He taps his backpack. He says, "Don't you worry, I've got me bedroll in here, I've got me loaf of bread, and I got a nice book to read. So take your time, small ones."
My God, how many trees died to make that book?
As if to answer, he reaches into the backpack and pulls out a book that's about the size of a king bed.
So is he gonna hold on to what's left of our tank while we're doing our business?
Yeah, he can hold on to it. We've got no way of getting it into town. You can't exactly carry it, and you can't pilot it.
Yeah. So basically, just say, just take good care of her.
He says, I'll treat it as if it were me own. Then parks himself on the edge of a copse of trees and begins flipping through the book. And he says, now where was I? Ah, yes, Chapter 5, where Volofamp meets a nice busty lass from Phandalin. And then he begins to read.
I bloody knew it. I had a mental image of Kakashi.
Just a giant reading freaking a king-size bed-sized porn.
And you begin to make your way towards Silvery Moon. Is there anything you would like to accomplish while on the way there? The short walk, only about an hour or two.
What can we accomplish?
Probably not. Probably nothing, but
yeah.
Actually, first I'd like to punch this stupid bard in the arm, going, "Next time you use your thunder wave, make sure we're not in the fucking way."
Fair enough.
He says ouch and then apologetically strums his lute.
Yep. In one
So
second,
here we are.
Yeah.
Silvery Moon, the gem of the Heartlands. It is a fitting epithet for Silvery Moon, a beautiful, tranquil city where trees and gardens live in harmony with white marble buildings, bridges, and sculptures. You've heard that this is an enlightened place, founded long ago by elves, a place of learning, creativity, and culture. And so the fact that there is, the fact that a family as scrupulous as the Margasters have established a foothold here makes you slightly question your intentions. The gates are wide open. They're not closed despite the giant crisis. The guards offer you a friendly wave as you approach, and then a half-elf clad in golden armor beckons you forth, and he says, "Welcome to the Jewel of the Heartlands. You'll find, if you're looking for learning, enlightenment, or culture, you'll find it within Silvery Moon.
I look
That's
at him
all I
with
ask."
sparkly eyes.
Wait, how are you
So shiny.
Hey, just have me in the background going, how about
He says, "All we ask here in Silvery Moon is that you obey the laws of the Lord's Alliance." You've been to Waterdeep and Neverwinter, so you know these laws quite well. And he says, "And to not cause any trouble. We're a peaceful city, and we'd like to keep it that way." Then narrows his eyes at the tieflings, then swallows and says, "Nevertheless, all are welcome here within our fine walls." He says, "Feel free to enter, but before you do, is there anything I can help you with? Some directions, perhaps?"
Where's the place we're going again?
Well, you've been told that the Margaster family have a magic item cache.
The Margaster family, that's right. Whereabouts can we find the Margaster family?
And the booze.
He immediately frowns and says, the Margasters. Well, they're a nasty bunch, I'll tell you that much. We don't believe in expelling people from Silvery Moon, and we don't believe in shunning people. So, unfortunately, they continue to infest our city walls.
Alright, I'm color me intrigued. What have they done?
He says, well, they're an old noble family, hailing from Yartar, if I recall. And, down that way, well, nobility is, basically means that you can throw your weight around and take advantage of those below you. Something we don't believe of here in Silvery Moon. All are equal within our walls, as was the ancient way of the elves. And so the Margaster family have continued to be, well, nuisance. Technically, they're not doing anything that's against the law, but, well, they don't have many friends around here. And there are many whispered rumors of terrible, terrible things that go on behind their doors. He says, if, however, you do insist on meeting them, and I dissuade you from this, they find their manor in the northern district, the old Waymeet district. They own the large marble manor on top of the hill there. you won't be able to miss it. He then looks at Vector and he says, now booze, on the other hand, well, we have many varieties. Their finest ale, the finest elven wine you will find in the realms, and a variety of venues to sample them in. It only depends. Does it only depend on what sort of atmosphere you desire? Then looks at the tieflings and Vector and he says, based on the look of you, I think you would prefer something a little bit down market, I think. Says in that case, you might like to check out the Gleaming Jewel on the corner of Gold Meadow and Bleaching Way.
Does he want to go for a drink with me?
So, as it turns out, I rolled for intelligence, and I think I discovered that instead of being insulted by down market, he was giving me directions.
Yeah. Yes. and he looks around and then he says, I do hope you enjoy your time in our city. He then takes a bow and ushers you through the gates. You enter Silvering Moon with its bustling streets. The vast majority of people milling through the streets appear to be, if not elves, then at least half elves. Most people are here to have some sort of elvish ancestry here. There are a fair number of humans, however you can't see a fair number of humans, a handful of gnomes scurrying about, however you can't see a dwarf anywhere.
Look, dwarves
Must not be good booze.
So where would you like to go first?
Anywhere I could steal something.
You can steal something at the tavern, most likely.
Well, you could have a nice fireball. Like, we order you some booze and pour a little bit of holy water in it.
Delicious.
Yeah, might as well go there, try and gather some information while we're there.
Very well. You make your way through the sparkling streets of Silvery Moon. You get a couple of friendly waves from passers-by, and altogether this city seems like it would be a wonderful place to live if you were an elf. And soon you find the Gleaming Jewel, the down-market, quote-unquote, dive bar of Silvery Moon. But in this case, it's a large white marble building with Roman gold trim.
Welcome to Silver Moon, where even the most diviest of dive bars are classy.
Yes, even the dive bar here is, would be called upmarket by the standards of most other settlements. And so, you enter the Gleaming Jewel, and inside you find a brightly lit, lavishly decorated drinking room filled with silken tapestries, evergreen plants, and water features, where several elves and half-elves are sitting quietly at glass tables, sipping from goblets of wine.
Yeah.
The
Norm, I don't suppose you want to share drinks again, do you?
Fancy a game of cards, anyone?
How much
You-
are the drinks here?
approach the bar, and behind the bar is a serene-looking elven woman. She
Dale?
smiles.
For
Yes.
shits and giggles, would there be any way of like playing that knife hand game in the bar with people?
Probably not in this place, no.
No, like
Could try.
Could
No
pass
one seems to be
table.
playing it, but
No,
no
I
one
mean,
appears
like
to be playing.
like if I did it with Vector.
Yeah, sure. You can take a seat at a. You can take your seat in one of the booths, and the rest of you approach the bar.
What do you
And the
say, Vector?
serene.
Okay.
the
This says it'll end well.
The serene-looking elf flashes a kindly smile at Angus and Bartleby. And then she says, welcome to my humble establishment. I am afraid it's not much, but I do hope you find what you need here. And she says, what could I get for you today?
Drinks, please.
Drinks.
That's always a good start. You're not even at the bar. Drinks are always a good start. And what do you have on the lower end of the menu?
She says, lower end of the menu. She reaches under the counter and pulls out a crystal flask of red liquid. And she says, I do have this 40-year-old Elven Merlot here.
Do I dare ask how much that's going to set me back?
She says, well, to be fair, it's quite cheap. Despite that, many of my clientele don't seem to take to it. Perhaps it's a bit too raw for the refined tastes here.
Yeah. Back, guys.
She says, feel free to take the whole flask. It'll be 20 gold for all of you.
Yeah, why not? I'll get this lot.
Bartleby's happy he doesn't have to shout drinks this time.
I don't think that's probably a good idea in this place.
I want to know how
He
much
says-
their finest is.
She says, the finest. She reaches under the counter and pulls out a very ornately decorated glass bottle filled with some sort of gold-colored liquid. And she says,
Oh no, gold liquid.
wine?
Is it the
Wine
fucking
from...
test again?
Says, elven wine brought all the way from Evermeet. Legend has it that this very bottle was carried by our elven ancestors from the far-off land of Evermeet 1,000 years ago, or more.
Okay.
How much?
How much for a glass?
He says, 300 gold a glass, if you please.
Oh my god!
I have it,
take
but I
my
don't want to
20
pay that
gold
much
bo-
for a glass of booze.
Sample?
Hey, look, it's destruction. Yoink.
Sample?
Please
You
don't
could
get
probably-
arrested within the first
You
10
could probably
seconds.
convince her. You could probably convince her to give you a free sample.
Sample?
Yeah, sample?
Kitty, make a persuade check, please.
Oh, damn. Fuck yeah. That's 19.
19 plus
Door.
7.
19 plus 7. Either way. Damn.
She says, "Oh, all right. I suppose it's not something you would normally drink outside of Silvery Moon." She gets a very tiny shot glass from the shelf behind her and pours just about a mouthful of the drink into the shot glass, and she hands it to you. Then she raises her finger and she says, "Do be careful. I've heard that when a non-elf drinks it, well, they might see into the Feywild for a little bit."
Oh.
Holy shit!
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Sample?
I
want it.
Sample.
Sample? To be fair, I asked for sample first.
Drink it like a fancy lady.
M1 is here too.
So we all
Sample?
take samples of this wine.
Right. Perhaps some more persuasion might be in order. M1 can now attempt a persuade check if he wishes to get the lovely elf to offer you samples of her 1,000-year-old elven wine.
Was this
I
persuasion?
see where this is going again.
Yeah. So what you missed,
Flutter my
M1, is
eyelashes convincingly.
what you missed, M1, is the party had a combat with some giants. They met a friendly frost giant, and they are now riding in his backpack across the Sword Coast. They've arrived in the city of Silvery Moon to steal some magic items from a less favored family, and before they do that, they're having a drink in this elven bar where they serve 1,000-year-old wine that's prohibitively expensive.
Nick, Mum says if she's still Dungeon and Dragon, I'm okay.
Mm.
Hey, Kelly. Yeah.
Let me make
yeah.
a check.
Yes.
Apparently Vector's done. Yeah.
Um,
Blink, 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 blinky, blink, blink.
So Dan
Why do you
Cooper,
say blink, blink, blink out loud.
Dan Cooper, yeah, so it's not working. That's why it's not working. Dan Cooper takes his cloak and turns his cloak into the finest silken elvish attire and says, "Say, we've come a long way, all the way from the South Sword Coast, and perhaps we'd all like a sample of this once-in-a-lifetime drink." Elf smiles and she says, "Very well. Perhaps go and sit down in a booth, and I will bring the samples and the flask of Merlot to you." Yes, Milo, a day has passed. You had a
I was gonna
rest
say,
inside the backpack.
Magic Heist has been cancelled for today because we're all just gonna get shit-faced and look into the Feywilds.
Hey, you're about to see some fucked up shit.
Retire to the booth where Vector and Nargle are playing a knifey handy game. You're no longer in the backpack of the giant.
No, we're all out. We're inside the town.
He's let you out to go into the town.
In his backpack.
Probably could fit it in there. Vector and Nargle are drawing some slightly concerned glances from some of the other clientele, but none of them seem willing to indeed
Oi, lad,
join in.
leave it alone.
Take a seat in perhaps the most luxurious tavern couches you've ever sat in. And then 5 minutes later, a younger, dashingly beautiful elven barmaid appears carrying a silver tray with a teapot and several glasses on it. He takes the glasses and places them in front of you, and then places the teapot, and she says, "Your wine is inside the teapot." And he then reaches into her pocket, retrieving the bottle of Feywild wine, and she leans over and pours just a mouthful into everyone's glasses. Then she winks and says, "Remember, don't enter the hags' houses." And she walks away.
I'll enter your house.
So I guess we're doing this?
Yep.
Let's do it.
Yep. Everybody, Constitution saves, please. You all,
Now is the time.
you all look at each other and say bottoms up and then swallow the drink all at once.
Yes, no, I played by country mile.
24.
I got an 18.
I was gonna say I got 22. So I basically sit there and go, it's okay.
Dan Cooper gets a 12. Okay.
Kitty got 9.
9. Okay.
Oh, you guys go.
So what does the nice elven wine taste like?
Fuck's sake.
Okay, first of all, I will describe to all of you.
Paramedic, what does it taste like?
I will describe to you that for wine that is supposedly 1,000 years old, it is exquisite. It is perhaps of the quality that all other wine you would. It's like the episode of Rick and Morty where Morty experiences true level.
Pure level.
Oh no.
Oh no, I've ruined wine for me forever.
I know, it's fine. I'd like to order also a bottle of the cheapest, but we'll get back to that after the description.
Yeah. And then after you swallow the mouthful, Dan Cooper, Bartleby, and Kitty, your vision begins to blur, and you notice all of the colors in the tavern growing gradually more saturated than usual. And then you see what seems to be an alternate reality blending into this one. You're sitting in the midst of the tavern, but also in what appears to be a vast, vast sunlight-lit forest of tall golden trees underneath a bright pink sky.
Okay, now how does this look for everyone that passed their Constitution save?
You just see them. You just see their eyeballs basically dilating, and
basically just look at everyone else that passed the thing and went, "Well, I've still got this cheap
Can I
shit
steal
here. You guys
stuff
want to
from
split
the
that?"
Pharaoh?
Let's
Oh,
go.
what's this, my dear friend? I pop the cork and I pour the glass of the
the bottle into the
No, you're
glass,
not.
and then I wave my hands around and cast prestidigitation using
Oh, you
to
sneaky
flame
Okay.
the wine.
So you have the 30-year-old Elven Merlot, which, even though it's the cheapest joint, is still incredibly high quality. And you cast Prestidigitation on it, and it turns into goon.
Eh,
Interesting.
We're in the bush now,
I'm
lads.
fascinated by this. I taste it. It tastes bad.
It tastes quite bad, but there's something that makes you want to drink more of it.
As opposed to, again, the dwarves just sitting there going, yeah, it's fine.
Can I see if I can identify the magical effect? Because it should have made it taste like the other wine.
Yeah. Do an Arcana check, please.
That'd be a 2.
You are,
It's still a 9.
you are left to assume that because this is Silvery Moon, the city of the elves, that perhaps the wine is enchanted to prevent people doing this very thing.
Fair enough.
Interesting.
Bastards.
I pull out out of my flask my water flask and I pour it into another mug, and then I try prestidigitation on that.
Okay,
To
make
make
an
it taste
Arcana
like-
check. Make an Arcana check, please.
Try to get some cheap.
19.
The water in your mug turns into goon.
Interesting. This is fascinating. Here, watch this. So, whenever I use prestidigitation, I can make things taste like other things. It's a gnomish trick. I mean, it's a trick that other people that aren't gnomes also use, but gnomes are particularly fond of this.
Right?
That's why I'm happy eating trail rations, because every time I eat them, they taste like the best steak I've ever had every night. It's great.
It's like
What,
Nitro.
the food I create for your whiny little ass ain't good enough
I'm
for
too
you, is it?
busy being
Yeah, no.
hungry.
Well, actually, yeah, that's actually rather to the point of it. Yes.
To
Right,
this, you
right.
hear
Remind me
you
to
hear
save some of the rations for someone else.
you hear a low voice. You hear a low voice saying, Psst, hey!" In the
Yeah.
in the booth behind you is a knight with silver hair. He's taking a sip of the Feywild wine, and he says, "Everything the barkeep makes is enchanted, but is what I do. I homebrew." And he reaches into his cloak and hands you a flask.
Interesting. I taste it.
It tastes like perhaps the most awful, cheaply made homebrewed wine you could ever have.
Interesting. I cast prestidigitation on it.
Immediately turns the same golden color as the Feywild wine.
I taste it.
Make a con save, please.
Oh, damn.
14.
It tastes perhaps even more divine than last time, although you notice that the forest of golden trees is perhaps more solid in your vision now.
Interesting. So, what magical effect is causing this, my dear friend?
So he looks at you and he says, "Well, you see, every elf has a little bit of Feywild blood in them. After all, it's where we came from. So any wine brewed by an elf has the potential to awaken this effect. Just so happens that the bartender here, she enchants everything to prevent anyone from doing what you just did. But me, I bring it in, pass it off as a nice cheap drink.
But it also worked on the on the water that I poured into the glass.
Says, well, who knows? Perhaps traces of it mingled with what you already had, and
Okay, I will try and use prestidigitation on the flask itself, so that the water itself tastes like the Feywild wine.
the water in the flask immediately turns the same golden color.
Yes.
Yeah, bro. Hey,
Thank
if
you,
you're
bro.
homebrewing that shit, I have an idea that I might want to pass over here as our business plan.
He nods and he says, "I'm listening."
Wait, no, I was more talking to Bartleby on that one. If he's able to, just
yes.
Oh no, I'm
No,
all
yes.
in. I'm all in.
One-
Get which crick screams. Get which.
Well,
I can't even
yeah.
say words now. I'm not drunk.
Well, that makes sense because you've drunk enough of that shit to
Well,
test it out.
I have a. How much of an elf do you need to brew? Like, is it the elf itself, or if I, like, say, in my travels had to fight an elf and had just dipped a part of him in the, would it imbue it with the Feywild magic?
The elf laughs and he says, well, I wouldn't want to try it, but I dare say that would work. After all, it's in the elven blood.
Okay.
Elven blood contains the Feywild magics. He winks at you. Bartleby, make a perception check, please.
They're using elven blood.
You see the gears turning in Bartleby's mind, trying to work out how he can acquire large quantities of elven blood. That is just as it is. 11.
Here, you hear. No, because only Bartleby is only affecting. I suppose Kitty and Dan Cooper could do it, but Bartleby's the one under the most influence. You hear, Bartleby, Kitty, and Dan Cooper, as you take another sip of your nice drink, you hear in the distance, and then far off into the Feywild forest that's bleeding into your reality, you see a hunched over figure of a hag. She's holding a 10-foot pole and using it to poke fruit off the trees as she makes her way through.
Is this the one whose pancreas I stole?
Yes.
I'm quite honestly glad I'm not shit-faced for this.
And one day
She cackles.
an extendable pole.
Yes.
Second
cackles.
time we played D&D, this happened.
She cackles once more, and you hear her say, why, this little trinket is the best thing the mortals have ever made.
Wow.
Then she vanishes from view.
Oh my lord.
Interesting.
Continuity, bitches.
So this is an actual...
What happened?
It gives me a brief connection to the Feywild. Interesting.
It's allowed you to see into it.
10-foot pole.
Yes, and your 10-foot pole, which is still getting some use out of it.
God damn it.
I started immediately, like, madly scrolling down blueprints and designs for, like, a wine-based portal to the Feywild.
Make an Arcana check, please.
I was gonna say, could I possibly help him out on this one?
17.
I'm curious on the whole wine side of
do
things.
it with advantage because Angus is helping you out. Because here's
23.
For different reasons.
He has a vested interest in the wine stuff because he's planning to open a bar.
23.
You scrolled down some rough blueprints for a wine-powered Feywild portal, which will be of some interest to those back at the university. Angus, however, is more interested in it because he wants to set it up in his bar that he's planning to open in the Bartleby Express.
Oh yeah, by the way, heads up for anyone who missed that memo. That's
You also see, like, concerningly, like, a suspiciously large tank labeled elf blood. Included in the drawing.
It is while you're all drinking the wine that you start to feel a little bit tipsy, and it's now when Angus looks at the blueprints and says, yes. Yeah, that looks like it'll fit in the Bartleby Express. He then
I'm
reveals...
surprised no one's actually questioned me on what I'm doing this whole time.
He then reveals, half drunk, half excited, that he plans to melt down all the scrap metal the party has collected into a small bar in the Bartleby Express and open essentially a portable traveling bar that takes customers in every town you go to.
Interesting.
Hey, it's a hot traveling business. Obviously, I keep a little bit for myself because, you know, through this whole adventure, the one thing I lament the most is the fact that I can't get a decent drink without something, you know, being attacked or invaded or blown up, etc., etc. So,
So we're doing the 7 deadly sins.
So we're going
Right,
to
you.
create a bar in the place where we keep on getting attacked and molested and destroyed and
Wait, who's getting molested?
Wait, someone got
No, where
molested?
you're getting attacked and molested.
Wait, roll back. Who got molested?
I got molested.
Wait,
How the
what?
hell did that happen?
Well,
I got-
she
I
didn't
I got
molest him
right.
in the
No,
tank.
In the
Yeah,
tank.
plus you never told us about that.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I revealed this drunkenly to the party that I was date raped at a bar.
Wait, that's what
Bartleby.
happened with you and that wench from the fucking harbor?
Yeah, she.
What the fuck she was with?
I think you're lucid.
Am I lucid now?
I mean, I was expecting some more emotional support than that, but yes, that's what happened.
I put my hand on Bartleby's shoulder and I go, I will slit her throat.
I mean,
I take my coin
I knew
first.
she was interested in you, but damn, you must have done something. What the hell are you packing down there to get that kind of effect?
I don't
Bartleby,
know,
make
but it is locked away.
Bartleby, make a wisdom check, please.
19.
You take another sip of your drink and reflect in silence, and then one of the elves at one of the other tables looks at you, and you get a small start as you briefly see her face as Maxine's.
How flammable is this bar?
It's made of marble.
I look at Bartleby, I go,
How attached
Is that?
They see everyone else sees your eyes grow wide, and then you're looking at, and they just see a normal elf drinking her wine.
I have to destroy this place.
No,
How
no,
attached
no.
are we to ever coming to this town ever again?
We're not coming
Destroy
here.
it
We're
after.
not coming here ever again, but we're not destroying the place.
I mean, you're not destroying the place.
No, you are not destroying the place.
I'm
Oh no, the people seem nice.
This is the
So
first
going
town
into
I've
stealth.
visited since I've left the mountain that doesn't have an ounce of fucking racism in it. Let me have this.
Seems like a nice place.
No,
Yes, it is. It's a nice place.
I'm kidding though, I'm going into stealth.
As you run a million plans through your mind of how to set this place ablaze, you look and notice that now every elf premises is gazing at you with Maxine's face.
Oh.
I'm just gonna
Okay.
very carefully just sort of hold it. Just sort of reach
Um,
out and just sort of start petting down the gnome, going, "Oh,
see me having a panic
you
attack
had a wee bit too much."
and like drunkenly trying to cast fireball centered on myself.
Again,
I
hence
only-
why I am trying to urgently just grab it.
Okay, make an Arcana check with disadvantage, please.
Can I please try to like stop him physically from doing
Yes,
this? Bring me
yes,
stuff?
make a
Oh,
strength
God.
check, please.
I roll to
that
knock
is
him out.
20 that is
I rolled
23 and
I got
24
21.
respectively.
Yeah.
I got 21.
See,
I
you
got
see
23.
You see Bartleby
just
begin
stare
to
Bartleby,
drunkenly.
that's
You see Bartleby begin to
Spicy
drunkenly chant the incantation for fireball.
Right.
You see
I call
flames
him a
extend from his
spicy gnome.
fingers. Yeah, and then all three of you begin to reach over the table towards him. And then before he can finish the incantation, he passes out.
No, 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 no!
Okay. No more wine for this little guy.
And okay,
He's having
we
some
now skip
PTSD
to the
flashback.
next day, as you can't quite remember what happened to that. You spend the rest of the night drinking in a blur. You end up spending 58 more gold on drinks over the course of the night.
How are we splitting this? Oh god. Yep. That's Bartleby.
You end up spending 58 more gold over the course of the night, and then the next thing you know, you're groggily awakening in the inn room above the gleaming jewel. Each of you lying out spread-eagled in a large four-poster bed with exquisite luxury satin
Vector,
sheets.
what the hell are you doing in my bed?
We're all in
No, you're all in
the same bed.
separate beds. You're all in separate beds.
Oh, thank
Shut
God.
up, Alex. No one asked you.
You look at Nargle and Bartleby, as you come to, you hear two voices beside you. One of them going, "That was good water." You hear one voice going, "That was good that was good water. Also, me was able to lick Master's feet all night and he
God damn it, Cujo!
Oh my god, is Radicus here with us?
Yeah, you then hear the second voice. You see Radicus like sprawled out on one of the bedside table.
I look
a
over
pile,
at Radicus
a small,
and I just go, I
a
love
small
you.
pile, a small pile of vomit in front of him.
Oh,
As you approach him, he just goes, "Oi, oi, oh, in it,
Welcome to
oh,
D&D
God."
Reference
rat
Ken
shit
Vomit.
face.
And then he looks at you and he coughs and he says, "Oi, that was some strong shit in it." Oh.
That was. Oh god. Oh.
Do I need to use
Hey-
my healing kit on
Hey,
him?
Cujo, do you want to
No.
snack? Look, there's some vomit.
I just looked at all the blueprints I've made, just sprawled out in front of me from the night before, going, "How much did I drink?
Cujo,
How much of this is
I was gonna
usable?"
say, am I even affected by half of these drinks? Because I feel like my constitution was pretty solid. But
Cujo,
Same.
Cujo, come here for a second.
Angus, make a Smith's Tools check, please.
I just go, Cujo.
that's a 20, not nat, but it's a 20.
As you crawl out of your bed, you notice that stacked at the end of the bed are 6 expertly crafted metal stools.
And you have no idea how they got there.
God damn!
Like,
I craft shit. I'm so awesome at this. I craft shit in sleep.
I cross-referenced the spools with my blueprints.
Yeah, they match. the spools are exactly the.
together.
You look inside your pack and you find a sheet of parchment and it's got like a business contract that's like half illegible, but the other half of it can just barely be made out. And it says something to the effect of me, Bart B, Big Dwarf Man Angus, I think, ? Go in business, bar in tank, blur. And then
and it actually
signed
says
it.
on the paper.
Who actually had time to write down
the monster of.
It is then that you remember the reason why you came to this town, the Lagerstein family.
People.
Wait, we had a reason for coming to this town?
You came here to
Sample?
rob people.
Whoever's got a bag of holding nearby, I have some medals to put away before we get started.
M1. I would like M1 to do an investigation check, please.
Well, the fact that, most people when they get shit-faced have, like, weird nights they don't want to talk about me. I set up a business deal and craft some fucking stool.
It is... okay, make just a flat intelligence check, please. I'll do it. It is then, as you're climbing out of bed, donning your armor and packing all your supplies up, that Dan Cooper withdraws from his exquisite coat a sheet of paper and reveals that while you were all drunk last night, he paid a visit to the Margaster estate, snuck around the perimeter, and has drawn a rough map of the area.
What the hell did that wine do to everyone?
Made everyone super productive.
What did I do with my
I was
wine?
gonna say, are you sure it's elf? Is elf blood secretly cocaine?
No, I was about to say the elf wine is the equivalent of MD.
You notice on the back of the map that he's carefully written his observations of guard movements and the numbers and where exactly they are.
Their guard moves.
Yes.
Alright, so we need to get the bard drunk constantly.
Lily.
And so would we like to push it to 5:30 to do the magic item heist, or would you like to save it?
I'd like to push it. Item heist, and Kitty wants to investigate the rooms we're staying in.
And everyone else okay to push it to 5:30?
Yeah, depending on what time dinner is, I might drop out early, but
Alright, yep. Hey, Kitty, do an
Only another
investigate.
40 minutes or something like that.
Yeah. Kitty, do an investigation check, please.
Oh, nice, 18.
Yep. Plus.
Look around the room.
So 19.
These rooms for being part of the low market tavern are more luxurious than probably anything in the entire city of Yata. In fact, there are several candlesticks and other utensils that look to be quite valuable, so you quickly pocket them.
Alright, so what am I pocketing?
It's always that one
Now
place that Rob steals everything from the hotel.
Yep.
So you've pocketed 4 golden candlesticks.
Oh, I wrote 4 children.
four golden candlesticks and 4 gold trimmed goblets.
Oh, damn.
Cool. I wrote giblets.
So we got 4 children and 4 giblets from the children.
We have giblets. Okay, and it's on to the magic item heist. You guys can get your magic items. Pack up your stuff and you head downstairs. The bartender winks at you as you leave and she says, "I trust you had a good night."
Yeah, I wasn't thrown out for once.
She says,
Hey, steal any scrap metal from today.
She says, "Well, you did keep me up most of the night with that blasted hammering, but well, as long as you enjoyed yourselves and our fine drinks, of course."
What was that saying?
She then takes a curtsy and you leave. You head through town to the Margaster estate, and yes, that counts as a long rest. What you just had in the inn. Over to the Margaster estate, which is north on in the Waymeet district on top of a large hill, as you were told. It's about half an hour to find your way there, but eventually you find your way there with little issue. I'm just flipping to the appropriate page.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. Find the Margaster estate. Margaster House is a 30-foot square white stone building with 2 floors. The ground floor is windowless and has a big wooden sliding door in the front that serves as the only point of entry. The upper floor appears to be an apartment of some kind, with a floor made of wooden planks and an exquisite but barred window set into each wall. Open wooden staircase in one corner of the building connects the floors. The majority of the estate appears to be taken up by a particularly large and garden. You see several guards, assumably human, are patrolling the estate, each wearing a modest suit of armor with a sword in the sheath. How would you like to approach this?
I want to go into
Sneakily.
I was gonna say, I don't think I'm gonna be much good in this.
Alright, I want to
Stealth check.
Who's running in the watchtower?
wild form into a spider and hop on to...
Onto Kitty.
Yes.
Meanwhile,
Yes.
M1 wants to try to get in the watchtower.
I'm
Yeah. Okay.
I know, I'm quite literally useless in this sort of stuff.
Well, M1, you have your cloak, which you can disguise. You can talk your way in. You can disguise your cloak so that it offers camouflage, so that you might be able to sneak your way around. So Vector's gonna sneak
Do I need
through.
to roll for stealth?
Right.
I think when it comes
So everyone except Nargle make a stealth check, please. And M1, you do yours with advantage if you choose to change your cloak to act as camouflage.
Okay, so
I will be doing that.
is there something else I can be doing? Because I really can't begin to stress how bad my guy
I
is.
know, it's okay. Only half the party needs to succeed. Yeah, you can Okay, so it's a fail from Bartleby.
Yeah, I rolled a 3.
That's okay. Yep, and a fail from... Okay, so that...
What
It's a
am I doing,
pass from Vector. You're doing a stealth check. That's a pass from Dan Cooper. That's a pass from Dan Cooper. So it's just
12.
12.
M2, come with me.
I was gonna say, at this point, I might as well be dragging my fucking metal stools along with me.
Okay, Kitty and Vector both passed, and Nargle is on Kitty's shoulder as a spider. So, Kitty, Vector, and Dan Cooper all fan out. Make their way across the garden quietly, waiting for gaps in the guards' movements. And when the coast is clear, they signal the rest of you, one by one, to come and join them under cover. We're now halfway through the grounds. Everybody attempt a stealth check again, except Nargle, and Dan Cooper, you get it with advantage again. Yep, James Bond theme.
I got 23.
23, that's a pass.
Oh,
Dan Cooper, you can roll.
15.
Yep, you can roll twice, Dan Cooper, because you got advantage.
I got a 15. Do I pass?
So that's a pass from Angus.
God, look at me go.
Dan Cooper fails both these times, so that's okay because Bartleby passed.
I'll be passed by a fucking landslide.
So did I. I got 23.
Once again,
16.
dice pot. Yeah, blame the dice pot.
16 on my end.
So, stealthy among you fan out once again. You wait until there's a lull in the guards, and then you motion for the rest of the party to join you. Finding yourselves all hidden behind a large hedge in front of the sliding double doors. So you have 2 entrances to the estate now. You have double doors, presumably the front door. You can climb in through a second floor window, or you can take the outdoor staircase up to the second floor entrance. Which one would you like to try?
Front door.
Second door window.
Second floor
For
window. for Kitty.
Or for me and Nargle, I guess, because he's on my shoulder.
Yeah. And Vector wants to go in the front door. Bartleby, Milo, and Cooper. What will be your course of action?
I didn't realize I was muted.
Yeah.
What's on the roof? Can I see?
It just appears to be a normal roof. There's a couple of turrets and things like that.
Are there any entrances?
Make an investigation check, please. Dan Cooper's going in the front door.
I go second story.
13.
13. Yes, you notice a small attic window next to one of the small minarets.
Awesome, I cast fly. Go up there.
I can't help but feel I'd be better off as a distraction rather than actually trying to take part in this.
Well, see, the thing is that presuming that it's just servants inside, it's possible that M1 could just bullshit you through.
My intention.
And
I'm just going to take the attic just in case we need a soft touch.
Okay, Kitty, please make an acrobatics check.
6 plus 7.
And
15. No, it's 13.
And have you got proficiency in it as well?
That's what 7 is.
Okay, sorry.
It's not 3.
You look around, making sure the coast is clear, and then you grab one of these stone pillars and begin to climb up. You reach one of the second floor windows. Make a dex check to squeeze through the bars, please.
Oh yeah, I rolled an 18.
Then you puff. You take a deep breath and puff in any part of your body that sticks out, and then you squeeze in through the bars, and you are safely inside the house. Milo, you are attempting to go through the side door. I would like you to make a stealth check, please.
Who's making the stealth check?
Milo.
Oh.
Milo.
That's 13.
13. You walk up the staircase, and then you open the second floor door. You take a quick look inside. You see one guard pass, and then you run inside and hide under a purple velvet couch. You are safely inside the house. Bartleby, you chant a small, you chant an incantation, and then making sure nobody in the garden can see, you slowly float up onto the roof. You see the attic window. Make a strength check to open it, please.
Crap.
Yeah, you reach for the windowsill and it just doesn't budge under your weight. It looks like it's been closed. It hasn't been opened in many, many years, and it's sort of jammed that way. Would you like to attempt to break it and risk that someone might hear it?
Could I let him in?
Kitty, you can let it. Kitty can probably let you in if you wait long enough.
Wait a second. I'm just gonna go through my spell list quickly, see if I have anything that might help here.
Do you have knock?
That's very loud and no.
Yeah.
I do have stuff that might help once I get inside. All right, can I try casting heat metal on the door on the jam?
Yes. Okay, you cast heat metal on the jam, and then you hear a click as the latch burns away.
Cool. I let myself in.
Lift the window, let yourself in. You're now safely inside the house. Dan Cooper, I would like you to make a perception check, please.
Oh, finally.
Look around, and you see a member of the Margaster family on the other side of the gardens. He is wearing robes of vibrant red with a gold trim. You disguise your robes to match this.
Whoosh.
Suddenly, you are wearing vibrant red gold-trimmed robes, and the robes of the Margaster family. And with that, Vector turns the front doorknob, and you, Vector and Angus, enter into the entrance hall of the house. You're immediately accosted by a butler carrying a silver tray. He looks at you, and he says, "Oh, there. We didn't receive word of any guests coming today."
Must have gotten lost in the mail.
Paying for some bullshit.
Fucking hell, man.
He notices Dan Cooper's red coat. He says, you're wearing one of Lord Margaster's cloaks. Am I to assume you're a cousin or a distant relative? Being an unannounced.
Yes.
That is I, yes, correct. And I am my traveling companions. We're all from the land of the St. Vinnies.
I'm his bodyguard.
Make a persuade check, please, Dan Cooper.
Bullshit check. Let's do this.
Yeah, you. Oh. What is your charisma, though?
Let me just.
You may still pass with proficiency and the charisma mod. Charisma mod I know is 5 because you got max 10.
Proficiency is 3 then, so 13.
Yeah, because he's got +5 on his charisma, which brings up to 10, and he's got proficiency and he's got expertise. So overall, that roll is 16, which means he passes. Introduce yourself as Cousin Vinny from the St. Vinny's.
My cousin Vinny.
And you say that you did write ahead to confirm your arrival, but with the giant situation outside the city, perhaps your missive got lost in the mail. The servant looks at you, and he doesn't look like he's buying it at first, and then he shrugs, and he says, very well. Well, the master will attend to you shortly. He's currently undergoing some study up in the He's currently undergoing some study up in his bedroom. If you would like to wait in the dining room, he will attend to you shortly. Is there anything you'd like to ask the servant now that you're here? You were, I will just say that back when you were told of the magical cache of items so many months ago, you were told that it is most likely the items were stored in the cellar.
Alright,
yes. Where's the nearest bathroom?
Since I'd like to, since I'm still Spider, I'd like to wait, have we all studied the map?
Yes, you've all studied the maps. You know the way, you know roughly the way to the cellar.
Alright, I'd like to hop off Kitty's shoulder and just scurry my way to the cellar.
I asked the butler where the nearest bathroom is.
Butler says, you'll attend to yourself in the chamber pot room down that hallway and to the left.
I have a quick question. Are there any guards around?
Not right in front of you, but as you move through the house, there may well be.
Cool.
As I go towards the bathroom.
So you're all making your way. You're all making your way to the cellar. I'm assuming.
I would like to try and locate a lone guard.
Okay, can do. Okay, Vector, you break off from the group and you go to the room with the chamber pot.
I stealth before I even get anywhere near there and hear off to the cellar.
All right, roll stealth, please.
17.
Oh god damn.
You break off from the group in the guise of attending to the bathroom, and then you quickly...
that was 19.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We'll do it anyway. You break off from the group in the guise of going to the bathroom, and as soon as you're out of earshot and eyeshot, you sneak your way to the cellar, dodging a couple of guards along the way. Bartleby, make an investigation check, please.
Lucky I'm very good at these. He says, touching wood. 21.
You peek your head down out of the attic into the hallway below, and you see a lone guard humming to himself as he makes his way down the hallway.
Okay, I'm going to cast third level sleep on him.
Go ahead and do your roll.
I gotta say, you think just like a wizard, and I appreciate that.
I'm just going to double check what the rule is. 5d8, so that'll be 9d8. Alright, that's 35.
The guard yawns loudly, and then he looks up at you. His eyes go wide, and he says, You stop! And then he falls forwards onto the carpet.
Cool.
Snoring loudly.
I go out, I get my rope, I gag him, I bind him, I steal his uniform, and then I cast Enlarge Person upon myself.
Very well. You'll pass for a guard now, which gives you free reign to go to the cellar if you wish.
Cool, I just wandered down to the
Evil
cellar.
fucking wizard.
You keep your distance from any other guards you see, so that at a glance you'll appear to be just one of them.
Also, I stash him in a cupboard or something. Let him have a nap in there.
You drag him back up into the attic where you entered and stash him behind some crates. And then you make your way down to the cellar. Okay. Kitty,
What room am
I would
I
like you to do a stealth check, please, to get from where you are down to the cellar.
Yeah, but what room am I in?
You're currently in what appears to be an upstairs tea room of some kind. There's nobody here, though there's an exquisite tea set laid out on the table, every piece of it with gold trim. You can steal it if you want.
Yes, I will.
Okay, you steal a high quality tea set.
Just a sec.
Make a
Yeah.
And make a stealth check to make your way down to the cellar.
Oh, nat 20.
Oh damn, that's a kraken.
Plus 10, so 30.
Well, still nat 20.
You exit the tea room carefully. You see a guard. You see one guard on your way down, and as you get close to him, you notice that he doesn't look quite human. He just looks like an enlarged gnome. And you follow him down to the cellar, making sure to duck out of the way whenever he turns to look over his shoulder.
During this, I'm holding my dagger.
Still not sure. Still not sure.
Okay, Milo's turn. Milo, you have just entered. You've just entered the second floor. I would like you to make a survival check, please.
Oh, that I could probably do. That's a 17.
You look around the room you're in and you see a crawl space just above the wall. You wait until the coast is clear and then you hoist yourself into the crawl space, and using your survival skills, you crawl between the walls of the house until you are just outside the cellar door. Then you extract yourself, join the rest of the group. And Cooper, make a persuasion check, please.
Oh.
And Cooper, you ask the butler if he could point you to the cellar as you'd like to pour some drinks for your weary bodyguards. And he looks and he says, I'm afraid I can't help you with that, sir, but feel free to wait in the dining room. He then turns and leaves, leaving you to now perform a stealth check to find the way there yourself. You must do the stealth check with disadvantage because you have Angus with you.
I was also going to say it's probably not a good idea for us to go to the cellar because they will probably be expecting us to go there if we want to.
Right, roll once more. Once more, M1. Is he rolling with disadvantage?
As I said, you want me to roll?
Oh, no, I'll do it. Do it for M1.
Oh!
I'll let M1 roll it there. I'll be nice. Expedited a bit. Got 10. Yeah, but you gotta roll a second dice, M1, because it's disadvantage. Sorry. Nat 1. Alright, 5. Okay, let's see. 5 plus... Yep, it's gonna just reach the DC, so that's okay. Body's fucked, yes it is. It's out to get you specifically, M1.
Yeah, blame the machine, that always works.
It always kills him in Call of Cthulhu. Okay.
Yeah.
You take Angus and you lead him through the house. His armor rattles a few times and you think you're going to be spotted, but you just duck into a side room at the last moment, and you make your way to the cellar door where the rest of the group is waiting. Everybody has got into the house and to the cellar door without a hitch. So, well done so far. So far, so good.
Well, can I actually crawl, like, through the cellar door because like I'm a tiny spider?
Yeah, you can go underneath the door.
Ooh,
Jump
and then transform back and just open it.
The door is locked, but if Nargle crawls under, he can probably unlock it from the other side.
Yes, he can.
That's the plan. I want to feel useful, damn it.
Okay, fine.
Well, you're doing better than I am. I'm basically a massive hindrance on the team.
Nargle, you take a now. That actually did quite well. Nargle, you run down off Kitty's shoulder, go underneath the door, and then transform back into your true shape on the other side. You quickly locate the latch on the other side of the door and click, unlatch it, letting everyone else enter.
Hi, friends!
I would hope you would whisper.
Make your way down into the cellar. You get to the cellar, you see a large rectangular shaped room filled with kegs and wine racks. You can't see anywhere, however, where the magic items would supposedly be found. Angus, do a perception check, please.
Oh, look at me doing something. That is 18.
As you examine the cellar, you feel a slight draft coming from behind two large kegs.
Please be a secret door, please be a secret door, please be a secret door.
Secret tunnel.
Secret tunnel.
Someone make a strength check to push.
Yes,
the kegs
I
out of the
will.
way.
Not Bartleby. Not
That's an
Bartleby.
8. That's an 18.
That's a nat fucking 20.
God damn it! Let me
You guys
do
basically just-
crap. God damn it.
Vector just comes up and he pushes the kegs out of the way, revealing a small space that you can squeeze into that leads into a secret chamber. Who's entering first?
Me. Fuck you all.
A small gap.
I'm already
It's a small gap.
Maybe
Spider.
send someone. Maybe send someone perceptive in case there's traps in there.
Yeah, that's
Bartleby.
why I'm transforming
Yeah.
into a spider again.
Oh.
You can turn into a spider again. Yep.
That's
Turn
true.
to a spider and you quickly run through the gap and you emerge in a small sort of cavern on the other side. The cavern appears to be entirely empty save for a large treasure chest in the middle of a magic circle.
Of course.
Wonderful.
Um,
I'll drop
That's
the
what
enlarged
I'm called.
person and crawl through.
Did I
Emerge
did
emerge in did you sorry, what did you do,
I
Nargle?
detect any
Traps? No.
traps or something in the tunnel?
No.
Okay.
You didn't.
Oh,
Bartleby,
I'd
you
like-
emerge
I'd like
in
to
the
find out-
cavern.
I'd like to try and identify the circle.
Alright, do an arcana check, please.
That's 17.
17. You notice that it is a circle of alarm.
Oh.
Wonderful.
If the chest is opened or removed from the circle, a magical alarm will trigger,
so
alerting
you
the
want it to be
guards.
disarmed, yes?
Sure. Will a simple
Can you
dispel
disarm
magic
this-
at
disarm spell?
third
Yeah.
level work?
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
We'll do it.
Well,
That will do
Kitty
it.
can disarm a spell.
Okay.
Does she have dispel magic?
No.
This is a purely
mind.
magical.
Damn it,
This is
Kitty.
the same thing. Only gonna cut
It's
this one.
different to the
Bartleby
last one.
can do it. Yeah, but
Yeah, I just-
it's different. The last one had a mechanical component. This one doesn't.
I'll
Okay,
just cast
Bartleby.
dispel magic on the
Okay,
circle.
wizard boy.
Yep. You hold your hands out and you think back to the exam you took several days ago. You remember question 41, which was written, you are breaking into an enemy stronghold to steal magical items.
Enemy stronghold retroactively has inverted commas around it.
Yes. You locate your prize, but it is protected by a circle of alarm. What do you do? And you remembered straight away you circled A, cast Dispel Magic at 3rd level. And so this is what you do here. And you see the circle fade away, revealing just a pentagram carved into the stone floor.
Can I identify this to see if there's any special properties to this pentagram?
Arcana check, please.
That'll be a nat 20 for a total of 20.
Okay. The pentagram, aside from acting as an anchor for the circle of alarm, also appears to be a symbol imbued with hellish energies to grant power to whoever of fiendish alignment appears to be ends up being in its proximity. In fact, while Kitty and Dan Cooper are here, they are slightly empowered due to their tiefling blood.
Ooh.
Wonderful.
You need to go
I've
to your
lost
bard
it.
school more
I
often.
pass
I'm
this
just saying.
information on.
So strong.
So strong.
Means you'll roll with advantage on certain rolls.
Well, I've done my part.
So, how do we get chest out of here? Can we put in bag of holding?
You could also try to open it now and put the individual items
Probably
into...
not the best idea now. Maybe just get the chest out and then
Why wouldn't it be
open
the best
later.
idea now?
Yeah, why wouldn't
If I cast, because you can cast reduce enlarge on objects. If I cast it on the chest itself, will it reduce contents as well?
why?
I don't think
why
it
would
does.
doing
I
that?
think it just
But-
I think it just reduces the the size of the
Why can't
chest.
we open it?
Possibly
Yeah.
M2's just too paranoid to open it.
Well, you can open it if you bloody
Well,
well
the-
want.
the
I'm
trap's
just
been
gonna-
disarmed.
I do have a bag of holding here that is completely free of any beasties or creepy crawlers.
Well, we can open the
Yes.
chest. It's been disarmed.
Alright.
We don't know that.
As far as you know.
As
Well,
far
we've
as we
been
know, we've
investigating
disarmed
further.
one trap.
Right. Okay. I pull out the idol.
What do you wish to ask it? It's a bit dusty. It hasn't been spoken to in a while.
Yep. Is the chest trapped still?
The idol says no.
There you go.
I
Open the
want to
chest.
detect magic anyway.
Yep, you detect magic emanating from within the chest itself.
Magic items.
Ooh, magic items.
Still
Open
nonetheless,
chest.
I think I'll leave the acquisition of it to our dear Trifling S or anybody else who is
Alright.
more dexterous with the manual arts than myself.
Crowbar time?
No, it's kitty
No.
time.
No.
It's
No
kitty
crowbar.
time.
Kitty might do a more subtle job of it.
Yes,
Thieves
subtle is
tools
best.
check, please.
So what do I add to that again?
Let's see.
What she
It's
add
a
to it,
D20,
these
D20 plus proficiency plus dex.
Okay, so it's +7. So that's 18.
Pull out your thieves' tools, then you lean over and quickly disarm the
19.
padlock on the chest. Then open the chest, and you are greeted by the magical glow of the items inside. There is quite a large number of items in here. Either you or Bartleby or Dan Cooper can attempt an Arcana check to identify them all in one go. Otherwise, Angus is going to have to cast Identify 3
19.
times. 19, that'll probably do it. See what Dan Cooper gets.
Bartleby, you just need to go back to college every week, I'm just saying.
got a
He
nat
gets
20.
better.
Oh.
Yep.
Kidding that 20. Fuck yeah.
Oh, the three of you have very good results combined. Yeah, Bartleby, you need to go back to college every week to get
Yeah.
slightly better.
That test has really helped.
Yes. Okay.
I'd like to say
So
I
the-
was crouched before the test as well.
Yeah, Kitty
Yes.
wins.
I win.
The first item you extract is a headband of intellect. Your intelligence score is 19 while you wear this headband. Has no effect on you. Is already 19 or
Doesn't
higher.
actually help me because my intelligence is 18.
Oh, my intelligence is dead.
Hey, my intelligence is also 10.
How about then I will re-roll the table and we'll see what you get. Re-roll on the.
Survey says.
Okay. What you actually found was a Wand of the War Mage +1.
Oh my god.
That would help
Holding-
me a great deal.
While holding this wand, you gain a +1 bonus to a spell attack rolls. In addition, you ignore half cover or making a spell attack. This is in addition to the headband of intellect, which perhaps Kitty or Dan Cooper would like instead.
Yes,
I'll
I
take
would.
that headband.
What,
The head-
else-
I will pass the
what other treasures lie within?
Yeah,
So,
headband.
Kitty, your intelligence is now 19.
Damn.
Damn, Kitty.
Now you have a slight to edge in me in debate.
Yes.
May you use it wisely. Though I do have education at my disposal.
The second item, and I know this is going to make a certain someone very happy,
Oh,
is an elongated whip.
Haha.
+1 leather whip can magically extend its reach to hit any target within 20 feet of you rather than its normal 10-foot reach. However, when you use this feature, you lose the +1 bonus to your attack roll.
Welcome to the group, Belmont.
And for the
By the way, secret hint. Milo Tea Leaf's middle name is actually Belmont.
Milo Belmont or Tea Leaf.
And for the final item, I will ask one of you to roll a D100, please.
Oh, I want to do it.
Liam's turn to roll.
Roll 1d1 ended.
Come on, buddy, make me
94,
happy.
nice.
94. Okay. At the very bottom of the chest is a very very intimidating looking set of half-plate armor. It is the champion's half-plate armor.
Meh.
What this does is, if Nargle wears it, it'll put his armor class up to 20. It's layered with metal scales, but doesn't feel any heavier than its mundane counterpart. Once a day, as a bonus action, you can choose a single type of creature as your mortal enemy, and you gain +3 bonus to all weapon attack and damage rolls against your mortal enemy.
Alright, so I'm going to... So what's it called again? Oh yeah, Champion's Armor.
This added to your Giant Slayer's axe means that if you say, alright, good one M1, you're leveling up to level 7 by the way, I'll send you a character sheet later.
Ooh.
Yes. Bartleby gets access to level 4 spells.
That's a question. Do I go up to anything? I have to check now.
And that is all of the items in the magic item cache.
I'm so happy.
No dwarven thrower this time, but it will appear. Hopefully. Remy got his whip. Nargle gets a new set of armor that brings his armor class to 20, plus also allows him to choose a target as a mortal enemy and get bonuses. So combine that with your Giant Slayer axe and you're going to be making short work of giants.
Oh yeah. Oh, this is fantastic.
And a headband of intellect for Kitty. Okay.
Who can do
Now, guys, do a spot hidden. Everybody make stealth checks now to see whether you escape the cellar.
16 for me.
Well, you
21.
Not
21.
freaking 20.
20. All right.
I will read on the armor and recast the spell, so I just leave the guard.
You can do that.
Do you want me to roll stealth anyway?
Yeah, you're rolling stealth with advantage now.
14.
After this, after looting the items, you close the chest and you carefully make your way out of the cellar. Then you head back upstairs and Dan Cooper still in his red garb and Bartleby clad in the guard's armor, simply walk out the front door and make your way through the grounds. As you exit the grounds, you chance a look behind you and you briefly see one of the guards as he enters the house change from human form to something horned and red-skinned. Milo, do a survival check, please.
16.
Recognize the creature masquerading as a guard as a Cambion, more commonly known as a half-fiend, the progenitor of a tiefling. But Dan Cooper and Reva, somewhere up the line, would have had one of these guys as their ancestors. But you are now free of the mansion and you have exited the grounds and you are under no obligation to deal with these Cambions.
I'm going to assume if we didn't do things right, we would have had to fight them.
You would have had to fight them. I had 2 encounters set up where you'd fight 3 in each encounter.
Oh, damn.
But you guys did so well that you actually did the whole heist. Milo, item, exclamation mark item and item name. But the elongated whip is a third-party item, so I'll just link it to you in the chat
that'd
here.
Be great, thanks.
Here's the elongated whip.
Thanks.
And that concludes today's session, with you smugly walking back into the streets of Silvery Moon, perhaps still feeling the productive effects of the elven wine, a successful magic heist behind you, laden down with new toys to test out next time. And next time, you'll probably go to the city of Everlund, boon from the Harpers, and then it's time to accompany Harshnag to the Temple of the All-Father, which brings us firmly into the second half of the campaign.
And you said we went to level 7?
And you've all leveled up to level 7. Congratulations.
Can I use this as an opportunity to go
Level 5.
one level into rogue?
Yes, of course, you can take a level
But
in
you're
rogue if you
already
wish.
a rogue.
Do I get it?
And now he actually is a rogue.
Now I am actually a rogue, so fuck you.
You, with a successful heist under your belt, you spend the rest of the night reflecting on it, and some of the lessons that Scimitar Sally tried to teach you all those years ago begin to come back into your mind, and you think, hey, you know what? Some of those are actually pretty useful. I should give it another try.
Yeah, I got 2 new spells from my Forge domain.
Well, that's cool. And Bartleby
we-
gets 4th level spells.
Alright,
Are we finishing and just leveling up now, are we?
Yep, finished leveling up. You're now at 7th level, which I think for you
Gives
let
me
me-
the survival
No,
defense or
no,
something.
no,
whatever.
that was-
Yes, it does. It gives you your
Fuck.
subclass feature.
I forgot
Yeah,
to what-
I got to decide whether I actually want to take that or want to try and
You probably forgot.
multi-class. I'm not
Yeah.
sure yet.
You
Learn to
can
read now.
you can go up to Ranger 7, or you can take a fighter level or something if you want.
Yeah, I got to think about it.
Alright, well,
yeah,
I will
gotta go
just
though
end
and
the
think
stream,
about it.
then I'll
Talk
be
to you
back in a
about it
second.
Another day.
Will you?
Alright.
All right. See you, Liam. Finish off the stream.
Yep.
Yep. See you.
Alright, guys, thank you so much for joining in today. I might do a normal stream tomorrow, but there will be no Call of Cthulhu tomorrow as I am going out for a boys' night. Should be fun. But Call of Cthulhu will resume again on Saturday, so 2 days time. But until then, if you haven't already, hit that like and sub button and come follow me on the Discord. And once again, thank you very much, and I will see you guys next time. You gonna say bye, kitty?